painted 2 of these. I got to paint this one, and then I got to paint a whole bunch of gloves, fingers.
Look at that.
Nice.
Yeah, this is a fun little thing. I made good progress this week. Took my jobs off so I could work on this show.
Nice. Oh, so you took the whole week off. That's right.
Yeah. So I'm nearing the end of that week. My vacation week.
That's exactly how I do vacations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1 week at a time.
Yeah, exactly.
But I've still gotten more sleep than usual, so I'll take it.
Feels good.
You know, that's key. That's good stuff right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so next week I don't have any shoots. I've got 0 shoots next week, which is very exciting because I can actually. It feels like a vacation week because I get to actually edit and actually do the after work and all that, and maybe check in with clients and do things that a normal person would do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So I watched you guys last week. I watched the After Dark episode.
Yeah? What'd you think
Also,
watching it?
welcome YouTube and our one Twitch streamer. Good for you.
Yeah.
Oh, so I got the Twitcher.
Mm-hmm. Got
Do
the
we call
one
them
Twitcher.
Twitchers? What do you call them?
I haven't
Twitchers?
confirmed though that if the one stream that's live is just me streaming it, but I'm
Or
hoping
like a
it's an
moderator
actual
bot,
person.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But we'll see. But
That
so,
seems
what do you
like
think?
Fairly reasonable.
It was good. I actually I enjoyed getting that third party view outside and watch and like it felt like listening to our old podcast where we had like no topic and we just like, hey, let's talk about stuff and kind of like mill around a little bit. There's some like creative ideas flowing back and forth. And yeah, it was really good. Like I said, I was turning on while I was doing some code and just powered right through it. Next thing I know, you guys were signing off, and I was like, "Oh man,
Nice.
I'll watch it again." All right,
That's a good feeling to know that you wanted more.
yeah, it was really good.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah, and you had it. I should have. I say this every time. Like I listened to it, and you said things, and I was gonna write them down, and now they're gone.
So we can actually touch on them again, or
Yeah, I think it was talking about like something to watch. Oh, I definitely. Yeah, we're gonna drill in Lord of the Rings. That is not forgotten.
that is just absolutely happening, Brian. Like there's no way out of it. It's kind of like death. You just gotta accept it. You
It's
gotta
like a
pay your
cred thing,
taxes. This is life now, man.
You will not get a pass.
I have thoughts, but I'm gonna save them at the moment.
Yeah. Well, you can't have thoughts until you've seen the movie.
But then there's going to be a TV show in the next.
It relates to this
and
movie.
so you have to watch the movies to be able to watch the TV show.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless you're like me and probably not gonna watch the TV show.
Yeah. There is a TV show.
Yeah.
Is it Amazon who's making it?
Yeah, I think
Oh,
so.
they're doing it like way back to Elven Council, right? Like Bilbo.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Bilbo.
Prilbo.
Pre Bilbo.
That could be great.
Refer to my life in pre and post Bilbo eras.
Did that happen PB or was that AB? It's hard to remember.
Was that pre Bilbo or post Bilbo? They're both BB. I don't know which one it is.
Who's to say?
It's just all
PB1,
Bilbo.
PB2.
And then there's people that be like, "Oh no, I go pre and post Frodo," and I'm like, "That's going to confuse everybody."
Yeah, we need to pick one Hobbit, and we all need to agree on him.
That they are the savior, and we start time over.
Yeah.
Hashtag Samwise.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, and then everyone can argue over that. The beauty of being a human is finding reasons to argue with each other, right? That's really why people get up at.
That's the fun.
Or at least a bunch of them.
And the other fun thing I was having was listening to you guys talk about this lovely Funko seed that I have planted, and how it's just like growing and growing.
Yeah,
starting to sense like it's just $5.99. Okay. Oh, now there's a set of 6. Oh, okay. Like, oh, look at that one. It's got something a little different, a little bigger.
I may or may not have a couple on my Amazon cart right now.
Do it. Pull the trigger.
Well, have either of you, aside from Nico, gone, ooh, I really want one, but it's old and I have to go on eBay and it's going to be $60?
Almost.
I don't know if it's
Almost.
old, but
yeah.
But yeah, I saw it and I'm like, do I need to spend $45 on a Funko? I probably will, but maybe not today.
Yeah, the ones from the two that I had mentioned when you first texted me, Nico, about it, when I was like, "Oh, are you buying us Funkos from Grand Budapest Hotel?"
Yeah,
it's a set, and I think the cheapest on eBay right now is like $80. So I'm like,
yep, yeah, because it was I think it was a convention exclusive. It wasn't retail.
That's what I love about Funko. It's just if you think it doesn't exist, it probably does.
Yeah,
but it's always on pre-order.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. I wonder if there's Funkos. Do you think that there's? Are there any Synecdoche, New York Funkos?
There's 400 of them.
Yeah, right. They constantly just
10 variants
change them over.
All the major characters. Yeah.
The burning house.
I've got 7 Hazels.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then there's like the 7 Hazels, but there's also like the 7 like versions of her from like the play.
Right. Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh God.
Okay, so
Let's dive in.
This week we watched Synecdoche, New York, or Synecdoche, New York, I think is the right way.
Yeah, it's spelled differently than Synecdoche.
Yeah. So which I believe the word means one representing the whole is the idea of Synecdoche. And so I always, until recently, I thought it was a real town in New York, but it's not. It's just a word that Charlie Kaufman used.
It's almost.
Yeah, it sounds like it could be.
Sounds like Schenectady.
Yeah. But so we watched that.
On purpose.
Right. Charlie Kaufman's script, wrote, and directed. And if you know Charlie Kaufman, you know probably Magnolia would be one.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
So some
adaptation.
Some really solid like movies in that sort of the renaissance of independent film era when Miramax was coming up and those sort of smaller art houses. And so when I first saw it, I loved it. Watching it the second time,
yeah, I think this is a rough second viewing.
It had its moments. Nico, you want to give us the breakdown?
Sure. So the high level, I'll give you the Reader's Digest Airline Magazine version of it. The movie centers around a playwright who experiences an early amount of success, but then also has something wrong with him. He's got some health issues, so he constantly believes he's on the verge of dying, but he's never accomplished his opus, his play. And you follow him through his life early on with the playwriting, and then he gets this grant, which basically gives him, from what I understand, it's essentially financial freedom. It'd be like a $200 million grant, which he dubs, it's dubbed as the Genius Grant. So he takes it upon himself to produce this perfect work. And in exploring what he's trying to do, he's basically just recreating moments of his life with actors. But, and I mean, that's it. It's he writes a play and then you follow him until the play is quote unquote finished. But the kicker with it is, as we mentioned earlier with the Funkos, is that he's hiring people to play real people while those people are like within 5 feet of the people that are being played by the people that they're playing. So, and they take these events that happen and then cut to him rehearsing that exact same event with the actors. And it just goes around and round and round. He's got the health issues. But then it's Kaufman, so there's just this left field stuff occasionally. Like the Hazel character, who's his assistant, buys her first home, but it comes with a house fire.
Right.
Her house is
just
inside.
On fire. There's holes, and you see holes in the wall, and there's flames behind the holes, and there's smoke everywhere. She's like, well, I don't know about this smoke. I'm nervous about, the lady's like, oh, it's real hard to buy a home. It's a big commitment. She's like, I still know about all the fire. It's a big commitment buying a home.
Every home is risky. Yeah. So it's got that weird stuff. And then but the great thing about the Kaufman stuff is it does, it's going to be weird, but you don't know exactly how weird until you're about an hour and a half in.
Yeah.
Because the most part is just nuancy weirdness. Like he gets hit in the head with the sink and one of his eyes doesn't dilate afterwards. And then there's this bit where he sees doctors where every time a doctor suggests a new doctor, he pronounces the name of it wrong. So he's like, I need you to see an optometrist. Why do I need to see an ophthalmologist? No, optometrist. And then while he's at the optometrist's office,
or neurologist.
He's like, I need to see a neurologist. He's like, a urologist?
Yeah.
And that happens like 3 or 4 times. You're like, all right, this is what is happening. And then it just spins out. And then that there's metaphor on metaphor on metaphor that's happening here. And it does get to the point where you're just like, all right, I'm going to stop trying to figure it out. Just wash it over. Just wash over me. And then at some point, the credits are going to roll. I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to be a happy ending.
Right.
It's going to happen, though. And
Is there going to be an ending?
Well, yeah, but like the hard part of watching it on online, like I did, was you get the little timer. So imagine if you're in the theater and you don't know the runtime. It's just like, when are we going to get there?
I'm done with my popcorn. I'm done with everything. What is going on?
Yeah. 30 minutes out, I had to check. I was like, pause.
Yeah.
30 minutes. Okay.
Yeah. How often did you guys pause it to see how much time was left? Because I did it at least 6 times.
Yeah, quite a few times.
Yeah, it was. I think it was when the first time I did it. Well, I had a phone call I had to take in the middle of it, but there was. It's when he goes to Germany, and Jennifer Jason Leigh's character all of a sudden has a thick German accent. And I was like, what? All right.
It's that is such a scene that makes you. So apologies to anyone who's not seen the movie yet, but if you've seen it,
spoilers
like that
incoming.
moment, you're just like, wait. And I did. I thought maybe I missed something because I was admittedly kind of texting here and there between while it was happening, and that scene came up, and I was like, wait, what happened? So I went back to figure out if there was some sort of logical moment that I missed, and nope. Just a scene in the middle of a movie where everyone's suddenly German.
Is it in Germany or is it in France? Where do they move?
Berlin.
Was it Berlin?
It is Berlin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so, that's right. That's right.
And then he does weird things too, where so he goes to Germany and he starts screaming about his daughter being 4 years old, and they're like,
right,
she's
9.
almost 11 now. That's like, so there's this huge passage of time, which actually it really doesn't start to sink in until they start messing with the makeup. So first and foremost, the makeup in this movie is phenomenal.
Yeah, it really
like
is.
The set direction, like all the technical merit for this movie is through the roof. And I think it actually was nominated, if I remember, because I remember the first time I heard about it, I thought it was at the Oscars, and I don't think it won. But yeah, so that you don't start to notice the time passage until they really start like receding his hairline, adding some more gray, and then it's when I'm gonna mess up her name. Is it Samantha Morton who plays Hazel?
Yeah.
When her character first starts to get like a little bit of the undercut, the double and the turkey neck kind of stuff. That's when I was like, oh man, this is all right. So years have passed, years on years on years on years, and nobody really talks about time until it becomes an apparent. Like the one actor is like, when are we going to let an audience in? He's like, when I know what I'm doing. He's like, it's been 25 years.
Right. It's been 17 years.
Yeah. So that's a part of it too, where you just you lose all track of time. So you just walk through this guy, and I don't think it's not psychosis. Like he's not psychotic or anything, even though they do have this weird little bit where he's walking with his daughter and he's got something on his face, and she says, "What is that?" He's like, "It's psychotic." Like, oh, well, not like crazy like your mother.
Yeah, psychosis.
Yeah, it's just that tiny little scene, which maybe introduces it, but then they never circle back on it. But yeah, but again, just metaphor on metaphor on metaphor. Because there's this, he at the very beginning, he opens up his mailbox and he sees there's a magazine he pulls out, and it's got a guy that says like, "Are you sure you're dying?" or something like that. And behind him is the guy who eventually plays him in the play.
Right.
And you're like, oh, that guy's, he's death. He's the metaphor of death because he's just kind of silently stalking. And then he shows up again later. And he's like hanging out in a doorway. And then he's at a restaurant or something and he's in the background. And then when his father dies, you see him sitting with his daughter. You're like, oh, this is a super metaphor. And then you find out he's just some creepy stalker that's been like secretly involved in his entire life, taking notes and essentially personifying the main character. Yeah.
Able to then literally play him as an actor.
Yeah. And that's like that cyclical thing. Cause so yeah, he gets him to play Philip Seymour Hoffman's character in the play. And then in the process of the play, they hire another actor to play that guy who plays the actor playing the actor.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then even to the point where like he Philip Seymour Hoffman is struggling because he's in love with Hazel, and then Hazel's life moves on. She has a husband, she has kids, but he keeps circling back to be with her, and he sees her on a restaurant, and he sees her with the kids, and he goes to jump off the building. Some guy grabs him and pulls him back, and then when they get to that part of the play, the guy playing him gets up on the roof and's like, I love her, blah, blah, blah. So basically just circling back that exact same concept. But then he does jump off the thing. And then the one line that Philip Seymour Hoffman is like, he just yells at him. He's like, I didn't jump. Get back up. You did it wrong. Yeah. Even though the guy's clearly dead. Yeah. But and it's that kind of thing where you got to stop trying to figure it out because you're never going to get there.
Yeah.
Like they're already 2 steps ahead of you. Just walk through it.
Yeah. So
well,
Ryan,
it's very theatrical.
Right? Oh well, sorry. Yeah, it is. I mean, that's what it is.
I think that's it's like the pretentious. I want to create the play that's as true to life and real as possible. So that's like his pursuit, and then the lines just blur as he's doing everything he can to make the most realistic play, to the point where he builds an entire city in this warehouse that he's rented out. It's been decades, and just iterations of people acting out scenes that maybe he circles around to, or they're just perpetually show up every day and act as these people and no one's seeing it. And like that's like somehow that is like this pinnacle of true theater of like, oh, what's the most truest form of this art? Nobody watching it? I don't know. Yeah, just here it is going on in perpetuity forever.
Yeah.
So your only comment, Brian, on our Facebook post was, I have thoughts.
I have a lot of thoughts.
Yeah.
My first one, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think I would probably rather watch Lord of the Rings than ever watch a Charlie Kaufman movie again.
Did you not like any of his other films?
I don't know. Like I watched Being John Malkovich once, and I don't remember anything about it. I've never seen Eternal Sunshine. I think I've seen adaptation once, but again, I don't remember it. The movie was just up. It's just up its own ass.
Oh yeah,
like the whole time.
Yeah,
it's awful.
That's
all the way up there.
First of all, the mix was god awful. I could barely understand him.
Interesting.
Like Philip Seymour Hoffman should be ashamed of himself and learn how to talk.
Love it. Keep going.
P.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rest in peace. Not saying he's not a great actor, but he should have read this script. Well, no, I know he did it because, like, I'm sure this was like, this is a true. I'm a true artist now.
Yeah.
That's what this movie is.
A method dream.
Yeah, like the time passage made no freaking sense at all. Like they talked about poop at least 15 times the first 6 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, cringe moment, playing with this shit with a plastic spoon. Like, come on.
Oh, I missed some of this because I was like, it was on in the background, sort of. Man, I missed that.
You missed that part?
Shoot. Yeah.
We picked another movie about sad, lonely people.
Yeah, we've been doing that a lot.
You know, what I've boiled
Why do
this
we keep
movie...
guttering in that?
I don't know. What I have boiled this movie down to was that this movie is basically about a person is unhappy with life and trying to get feelings out and make themselves feel better with art, which is, that's what I do it for, because usually I, tortured artist people. And in that respect, it was a huge success. But goddamn, is it hard to watch.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be honest, like, I'm getting riled up and I apologize, but I almost turned this one off and said, sorry, guys, I'm not doing it.
That's awesome.
Like,
that's amazing because we've
fair.
watched Vampire's Kiss. We have watched Nothing But Trouble.
Nothing But Trouble.
And you've kept them on. And this is the one that was going to put you over the edge.
Well, because, like, those are just like, well, I'm going to watch the world burn. And Vampire's Kiss, as weird as it was, it made me giggle a lot, but like this one's just like, I'm going to drown kittens for 2 hours.
Well, but that's the thing. Like, so Nothing But Trouble was sort of like whatever state they were in, probably drugs and other things, and just the 80s and just comedy. That made sense then. Vampire's Kiss, same thing. But Charlie Kaufman, every day of making this movie was in some kind of like freaking ascot, just like brooding over every little detail because it had to be perfect. So that it's a different type of I hate this movie. It's just a different level because how seriously everyone involved took it. But you got Samantha Morton, who's brilliant in it. Catherine Keener, who's great in it. Like there's some actors in it that are like killing it. But I was watching it going, what do you think a day on set was like? So Philip Seymour Hoffman walks in. He's like, I don't know. I'm not really sure how to play the scene. And Charlie Kaufman's like, could you be sad? And Philip Seymour Hoffman's like, yeah, I could do sad for this one. And that was every single day. And it was just every day was the same. Just be sad, be pathetic, be fat. Like it was just not. It was one note.
All these lovely women will just throw themselves at you while you're just miserable.
So it's what I call the Bill Murray effect. While Bill Murray, I think, is like the most charismatic, like, he's an attractive guy in the sense that his personality is amazing. But I remember when I was a kid thinking, like, there's no way Sigourney Weaver would go for him. And then Andy McDowell in Groundhog Day, I'm like, what? I don't understand this thing. It's this idea in Hollywood where they cast a leading man that they think is going to be great for the movie, and then they put the hottest girl at the moment and make her be in love with him. That's kind of how it works. And that's how this movie
Are you saying these movies aren't real, Matt?
Maybe.
You're saying there's an illusion?
It's possible. But to think that all of these women who are just like thrusting themselves at his brilliance or whatever, even in the context of the movie, I didn't buy it. It's like, nope.
Yeah.
Nope. There's no way.
Because you're made to believe that he is essentially he has employed these people for almost like 20 years.
Their entire life. Yeah.
For this project. Yet it seems like they can kind of go off, maybe do side projects. Like other things can happen. And they're not all in, but it's this steady paycheck that's been happening forever. It's like they could get a gold watch at the end of this and retire. Yeah.
No, I wouldn't tell somebody to watch this movie. That's the thing. If I was going to introduce Charlie Kaufman to somebody, I would say watch Eternal Sunshine. That to me is like the safest walk-in
adaptation
to a Charlie Kaufman. Adaptation is good, except it's not autobiographical, but it's Charlie Kaufman wrote a movie about Charlie Kaufman in which he cast Nicolas Cage as Charlie Kaufman twice.
Right. Well, and specifically that one adaptation is about writing a script, right? And wanting to make something artistic that's just like kitchen sink lovely. Again, it's very similar to this, I think, where adaptation takes that twist because it's like, well, no one wants just that. You have to have action. You have all this crazy stuff happen. Right. So then it's like his script gets bastardized. And so that's that movie. This movie is, I would suggest it to theater people.
Oh, yeah.
I think if you're not a theater person,
theater people,
like Brian, like, are you a theater person at all? Did you? Yeah. So I think so much of it is for theater people, and it's that world.
Definitely.
Like, I watched it, and I could not that I could say I did enjoy it, but it's definitely in that way. The adaptation is for script writers. This movie is for theater people.
Yeah. I don't know. I think just this kind of movie just isn't my bag. It was really hard to follow, which not being able to follow stuff never usually bothers me. I don't know. I guess I just wasn't buying it. It's like, oh, come on, really? Mm-hmm. But as I said, because this movie told me to, I thought a lot about poop in the last 24 hours. And I was like, is all the poop talk just a metaphor about everyone who just constantly shits out things that they think should be important to other people?
Yeah, maybe.
I was like, is that what it is? I know that's super weird and out there, but I'm like,
no,
I'm trying to figure it out.
That's very in line with how I felt about it. So I watched it when it first came out, like right when it came out, and that's like
2008,
12 years ago. Yeah. And so my mind as an artist was in a very different place. And so watching it now, all I could think about was, this is a movie made by a person who's lived on grants and fellowships and scholarships. Here's a person who's never lived life. All he's ever been able to do that's deep and interesting is muse about and think about and ruminate about his own mortality. Like, he doesn't have anything to say about life except that I'm gonna die. That's all he's got for himself. And so that's what that movie feels like to me, is it's just like a movie about reflection and but Philip Seymour Hoffman's character, and he is supposed to be, from what I understand, a representation of Charlie Kaufman as well, a man who's done nothing, who's just given a bunch of money to do nothing. And I think that maybe that's what he meant to say, was I've been given a bunch of money to do nothing. But it just is not interesting anymore to me as a person who kind of sees life differently than I did 12 years ago,
Well, it's an unrelatable. It's hard to relate to it. That's what unrelatable means. But in the sense of, you can't look at it and be like, oh, that's me, or like that's a little bit of me, or that's a little bit of me, because
there's nothing there.
Because especially when they keep rolling over actors in the different roles, and that it's actors playing actors being actors. So, but from a film study standpoint, that's what this movie really is to me. Is it was designed for an American cinema advanced.
I think that's
course.
all it is. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're not saying it's garbage. So at least from my opinion, I don't think it's, well, that's fair. From my opinion, I don't think it's garbage. I think it has merit, because if you think about what it takes to make a movie from an actor's standpoint, and they get words on a page, and these words are so meta that even like, it's really just a showcase for all the actors and their performances. Because like I think Hoffman kills it in what he accomplishes as a character.
For
like,
what
I
it
lose
is,
the fact
for
that
sure.
It's Hoffman, like, right away. And then I think Morton does a great job playing like the giddy girl at the box office who's in love, then moves on, but then like circles back. So, and then to play yourselves, realizing yourselves as they're being played by others, playing yourselves. And then, think about like taking a dump, and then you hit up craft services and you get like a turkey sandwich, and then it's like, all right, so now we're gonna do the scene where you guys are sitting at the director's table watching the ex-wife run through the lines of the play from the scene that we just watched the other day without the wall, and go. Like, how to get into that space to accomplish that, even with like the tracking and all that stuff, and then switch it to like, who knows how they shot it. Maybe then like, okay, so now we're going to do the scene in the artist booth where his daughter comes out painted with all the tattoos, and we need everyone to look at him like he's a creep. Like, just to be able to jump like that.
Yeah.
It's nuts. Like, that is work. But to ask somebody like, hey, I know you worked really hard this week. I've got this great movie. Let's get some popcorn and a hot dog. Let's sit down. We'll have a really great time.
No.
That's a hard ask.
Yeah.
You know, there were some cool reveals. You know, I think there's the one when he first starts, when he finds out his first ex-wife is back living in New York, and he shows up and the lady mistakes him for being the cleaner. So he starts cleaning her house. And then he comes back home and his current wife at the time, but is also playing his wife in the play. And she's saying, "Where were you?" And he gets argument. We're like, "Well, I was over there cleaning. I like cleaning." And they get in an argument, and then they reveal that they're in the set, and it's just him line reading it for the person that's playing him. I was like, "All right, that's pretty cool."
Yeah.
And like, I would say the other I probably have like two favorite moments, but like I think one was the scene when the guy that's been randomly following him first shows up and says, "I'm not an actor, but I've been following you for 20 years. I'm perfect," and then says, you know, he's great, hire him, and tells him, you know, I'm butchering it, but he basically says what Philip Seymour Hoffman's character is gonna say. I'm like, all right, that's a pretty cool scene. That's I'll give him that one.
Yeah.
And then the one that made me laugh is when they go to the funeral because his mom got murdered. And he's got the girl from the play that's playing Hazel with her because Hazel wasn't available. And they go back and they're like in the house. And I'm like, "Here, you can sleep in my parents' room." And it's still blood everywhere in the bloody glass. He's like, "Oh, I thought someone would have cleaned that up." Yeah. And that's it. The crime scene is still there.
Yeah. And she says, "Who?"
Yeah, and he's just kind of like, "Oh,
I don't know.
Somebody."
That made me laugh out loud. I was like, okay, that's funny. But yeah, I mean, I know I'm always the jerk that just says I hate this when I don't like something.
That's all you ever are.
Yeah, that's all you ever
No, I mean,
got.
that kind of is who I am. Like, if I don't like something and it like I'll get up and rant and rave about. Just ask Eric, Matt. I made him mad so many times doing that. But like, I will say this movie had some merit.
Sure.
You know, I get my poop metaphor. Looking at my notes here. I thought like the house on fire. The first couple times I'm like, oh, this is so weird. And it's still weird and out there, but it's like, that has to be like a metaphor for her whole life because she was like the cute box office chick that was just like starry eyed for the director. And then, you know, she gets married to the dude that was living in the basement of the burning house and then runs into him again. She starts like him saying like her whole life is kind of on fire. I think that's what they were going for.
Yeah.
I can't pin it down because you could go down one avenue saying this is what the metaphor is, and they say, but what about that? Yeah, she does die of smoke inhalation. Like, yeah, all right, hold on. So it wasn't a metaphorical fire; it was a literal
actual fire. Yeah,
I think it's like the movie was trying to be meta, like within the meta. You know, this whole damn movie is, you know, that bit which they actually do it with a map. It's like mirror within the mirror within the mirror within the mirror.
Warehouse,
like,
the warehouse.
Yeah,
the
warehouse. Yeah, for sure.
So that's like basically this movie. But after I watched it, I was thinking about, okay, well, like, it's totally up its own ass, but there was some thought that went into this movie. But I mean, I just found it hard to follow. Yeah. And I think because some of the makeup was so good, I couldn't tell who was like the character and who was the actor.
Yeah.
You know,
and that was kind of the point, I think, in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
was
my
to sort
are
of
falling.
Mush the reality,
blend it together for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think that, and then also certainly, I think his statement on just us all living in reality is like we're all just doing the same thing, and like to the point with you, Matt, of like this movie is absolutely, his character is just kind of pondering and trying to go, well, who am I? What am I? And he's doing things. He's taking action, but there's way more pondering than action. And so, yeah, like in talking about, you know, the artist who just thinks, oh, I'm just going to make that amazing work. It's like, or just make stuff. Like, don't worry about it. You know, like me with my side project, my silly Star Wars thing, you know, and it's like, well, just make it, put it out. And I'm like, no, it needs to be perfect.
Right.
Like, I'm doing that same freaking
right.
It's like, no. But there is, I was talking to my roommate the other day, and like talking about how people can get, you know, really depressed or really bummed out or this or that. And it's kind of like we talked and we're like, do they just need more things to do? You know, it's like in America especially, we really seem that we are able to have a lot of time to think about how bad things are.
Yeah.
And it's like in another country, if a kid would say this, would their like Chinese mom be like, "Oh, you need another sport, and you're going to learn this instrument, and you're going to get a side job." Oh, okay. Yeah, you need to be busy.
Yeah, you're too busy.
You have a therapist?
Yeah, I think that
you need to be busy.
the massive amounts of, we won't get too crazy about this, but I will just say that I think the massive amounts of depression and ADD and things that we experience as humans are actually just our own selves not being able to find the motivation to do the things that we want to do and to be like, just to be driven, I guess. Because I know personally that if I don't throw myself into the work that I love, I will immediately get depressed. I will immediately get sad. I will immediately be reflecting upon my own mortality and all those sorts of things. So the drive that I have is in a lot of ways informed by my sort of, internal sadness. And so, so if your only outlet is to write a script that you're forcing everyone to watch this movie, like that's how you're working your sadness out.
Well, yeah,
I just watch it and I go, I'm sad now from watching this.
What is the meaning of life? Why am I?
Right,
should I just sit and mope? Or
is my work really worth it? Yeah. Does it mean anything?
Should I get married and have kids? Does it matter?
Yeah.
I think. Well, so first off, we're all not doctors, so we won't go into whether or not there is such a thing as clinical depression versus general melancholy.
Absolutely, so I'm not saying that.
We're just saying there is. You can get into a state where you're like, not as happy as you would be. We're not discrediting those with clinical issues.
Not at all.
Okay, that being said, I think this is his creative outlet of saying like, well, I have feelings. I can only understand them when I transcribe them to work. And I think what an argument to support this would be when Shia LaBeouf kind of went through his thing, and then
Britney Spears time.
Huh?
When he went through his Britney Spears moment.
Yeah, when he had his break, he actually went to a counseling center and got some assistance, which is great. But part of that, his catharsis there was, they said, well, write down all of the things that you think led to your current state. So he basically wrote the movie Honey Boy in treatment, and it involved his reconciliation with his father and dealing with the tragedy or the accident during Transformers, and how the stardom was just thrust upon him when he just kept saying like, I need out, and they're like, we need money. And so like I would say it definitely creates an avenue of saying like, it's kind of like why people journal or have diaries, which is a diary is another part of this movie, is that it's instead of having it rattle around in your brain forever and ever and ever, is just to get it out, and write it down. And then as you write it down, you can put your method to it and process it. I think when he wrote, because there's 4 funerals in this movie, and none of them are happy, which I know sounds weird, but
they're all very unexpected.
Dies, it's a child's coffin because he had so much cancer that it just ate his body away. And then his mother is violently murdered in a home invasion. And then his recounted love dies of smoke inhalation. And they're just like, oh, death now. And the irony of it was, I think within the first 4 minutes of the movie, he says at least 5 times, I think I'm dying. I think I'm dying. And you're like, all right, so he's going to have all these maladies that we're going to have to walk through. And he does get these weird malady issues where he gets, he has a seizure and he calls 911, or he has the leg twitching, or he gets like gum surgery. And then that shows up a couple of times where his mouth is just bleeding. And then he can't produce saliva, which when you talk about these attractive women just throwing themselves at him, just think about what that would look like if you're on a first date, which it wasn't a first date for them. If you're on a date and the food shows up and you're like, what are you doing? I'm generating saliva. It's a biohaptic feed.
He's eating like a bird at one point.
Yeah,
that's he puts the food in his mouth and he's like,
And then after all that, you're like, I'm gonna sleep with him. No, man.
Well, maybe he's damaged enough. Who knows?
There's no amount of like sympathetic love that'll overcome.
Right.
And even like they did one thing, which was it was like cringy, but it was also one of my favorite parts. Is that they introduced the tear saliva thing super early, but then when he goes to Germany and he sees the Christmas gift sitting like half opened, he actually puts in like artificial tears and then goes and weeps holding on to the present. It's like, all right, that's super cringy, but that's also really good. That's also pretty solid.
So what was your favorite / and or cringy
well, the cringy stuff was really just the early on interaction with Catherine Keener's character, and how what really got me was the opening night when he comes back from the opening night play, and she kept telling him, like, I'm sorry. And then they're on the couch and they're obviously stoned, and he's just on the stairwell trying to say like, it went great. I'm really happy. I'm really proud of it. I wish you could have been there. And they're just like, cool. So why are they young? And he's just like, he does this weird, like, okay, I'll go upstairs now. And I was like, that hurts. My favorite parts, I think, were, I really liked the characters playing characters. Like, like all the little, like the puppetry stuff that they were doing with them like walking next to each other and like mimicking each other. I thought that was cool. And then the fact that, they showed them kind of out of character in different ways, all that just like method, watch how acting is done type stuff, I thought was super good. And then all the technical makeup, except for sound mixing, but the makeup, the set direction, the set designs were stellar. I mean, the movie is beautiful. As weird as it is, it's still really good. And it's not my favorite Kaufman, but it's up there. As far as like, again, you got to go in knowing it's going to be just weird.
When you're at the peak of your, whatever version of artist you are, when you're like in that moment where you think that everything you do is perfect, go watch this movie. That's when it's good to watch. Don't watch it when you're having real human moments, because it's not. You're not going to enjoy it. Eric, did you have what's your favorite and your cringy moment?
Well, so I think the favorite things I liked about this was the really weird little dark humor moments. One of the ones when Keener and what's his name, they're in couples counseling towards the beginning, and Keener's like, I feel like I want to say something really terrible, and the counselor's like, that's great, say it.
The counselor was funny too.
Counselor, all that was great. I think both my moments have her in it. And Keener's like, I wish like he could just like disappear and I could just like start over, you know. I know that's
fantasize about his death.
Fantasize about him dying.
Is that what it is? Fantasize about his death and I could just start from scratch. And counselor's like, oh, and how does that make you feel? And he's just like, crappy. She's like, yeah, great. See,
she says, good,
like,
great.
We're making progress.
Like, was it Hope Davis? Yeah, Hope Davis was the psychiatrist, and she's so just like straight faced. She's like, that's great.
And she's
so
she's a half second ahead on her responses too.
Yeah, because she's already it's just rote. Just get it out. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I've gone through this with 100 couples. I don't care. Yeah. I'm just trying to sell my book. Then she hawks her book to him. And then, but yeah, there's something, and she's talking about some little like 4-year-old that wrote a book.
Oh, right.
And it was, what's the details of that?
He wrote, it's about a white supremacist who,
like a little 5-year-old,
a 4-year-old writes a book about a white supremacist who joins the Klan, gets kicked out, and has his life saved by a black man before he then like kills the entire family or something like that. And then Philip C. Robinson's like, that was written by a 4-year-old. That's amazing. Like, it would have been if they made it past 5. What? Oh, they killed themselves.
It's like, why? It's like, why would you?
Did you guys notice that one of the times he's walking out of his warehouse theater, there was a bus ad for that had been turned into a movie?
Oh, really?
No.
Oh, that's awesome.
You see it once. Yeah. One other thing I thought was was kind of cool was how he's like learning about his first family, the wife and daughter that went to Berlin. He's learning about what they're doing through all the magazine articles. And I saw that one where the wife was like, I'm at a point in my life where I just want to be around joyous, healthy people.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh.
Yeah. Ouch.
Yeah, and then they've got like they gave him the Mike Wazowski where they take the picture and it's got her and their daughter and their friend and Philip Seymour Hoffman is in there like over her shoulder, but he's like darked out in a shadow.
Yeah.
But he's in there.
Yeah,
So-
oh yeah, go ahead. I don't know that I have a cringy moment. I mean the whole movie is just such a kind of
Cringy
slow
moment.
burn.
Yeah.
I mean I think that's the thing. It's just is getting through the movie is so experience. Because you're like I said, I working on something with this kind of playing and I'm kind of watching, but I had the luxury of being busy while doing it. Still an hour and 30 in, I was like, oh boy, how much longer we got?
Checking in. When can I watch G.I. Joe?
and I see what Cobra Commander's up to.
Yeah. How about you,
He
Brian?
will not bore me.
Yeah.
All right,
What do
Matt,
you got,
what do you
Matt?
think? Yeah.
I was going to say, so favorite moment was Emily Watson's character was super cool. Like, I liked that she was kind of was she the next version of Samantha Morton's character? I forget where she was at.
She was first
in the
Hazel.
timeline. So she was first Hazel, right? And so
Samantha
after
Morton?
That's the one
so
who
Emily
was-
Watson. So she was she's
Emily Watson.
in like the newsroom
Lost.
and all kinds of stuff and things.
Oh yeah.
What's the show on Netflix she's in? But yeah, so there's that scene where she and Philip Seymour Hoffman are up in his bedroom, and it's after the funeral, and she just starts like taking her clothes off, and they're just like she's just like, do you want to sleep together? Do you not? Like, what's going on? And it was this really interesting thing where, first of all, and I mean this in like the best way possible, she didn't care. She didn't like get in the best shape of her life and then get naked on camera. She was just a regular human getting naked.
Sure. Yeah,
and it was these two people who were just like really sad about their real lives. And they were just like, the only thing we've got right now is to sleep together in your childhood bedroom. I love that scene because it was just like just two people kind of at this point in their lives where they're like, I don't care. I just want connection. That's all I really want right now.
Yeah.
After a funeral, and you're just like Philip Seymour Hoffman could not have been more disgusting, like as just a blob of a man, just like blech. You're just like
And really old at this point.
Yeah.
Like his character,
Yeah.
he's got to be like 70 or
and
something.
that horrible room with the paneling and the twin size bed and everything. But they're just like, I just crave some sort of connection right now. I love that moment. It was a great moment. I think the cringy thing though was without a doubt the producing saliva. Like, I hate mouth noises in general, and so it's the worst ever. But the way that he was doing it with like the little mouth thing, and he's just like, he does like the baby bird like tossing the food back in his throat. It was disgusting, and it was definitely like a pause at how much time is left.
Yeah. Are you glad they just did it one time?
Yeah, I'm glad they
That
didn't come
they
back
didn't do
to
that
it.
the whole meal.
Yeah,
They're like,
yeah.
this is for effect. One time you get to watch this, because I think she actually says something to the effect of like, that's repulsive.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm sorry.
And I think just a general cringe thing was all the like women in his life where you're just like, I don't know, I don't buy it. It's like, was it Michelle Williams?
That his genius
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, just
that
so
they're
there
like,
that
yeah.
all of these people are going to throw themselves at him. I was just like, I don't know. I mean, I get it kind of, but not really. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we can't say that we haven't seen it.
Right.
You see some people that are just so artistically influential that, well, this is going to sound terrible. What is it? Christina Hendricks and her husband. Her husband is the guy who plays the dude who gets stoned at the beginning of Super Troopers,
Oh,
who
yeah.
eats all the weed.
Yeah.
And Christina Hendricks is, well, Christina Hendricks from Mad
Yeah.
Men.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, what? How it, the, how, he,
Yeah.
but she, and wait, they're,
It's one of those things where you just want to just say, but he's like really ugly. Don't marry him.
like he might be the funniest guy on earth, but
Yeah, but he's just real ugly. But I thought that about Dax
because you're going to
Shepard,
be
though,
maybe
too,
happy with him.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing with like Kristen Bell and Dax Shepard.
Dax Shepard, yeah,
it's like,
that's the thing.
Dax Shepard is it's kind of funny sometimes, but you're like, no. What?
Do you like
why?
having just children in your house? I don't understand. Yeah, it's crazy.
You're like 2-year-old or whatever is probably more mature than your husband.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, but that's why this movie has like a touch of like, all right, it's not just two beautiful people smashing together all throughout this movie.
So, and a fun fact though too. Sorry, go ahead, Brian.
Oh, I was just saying, like, I think the other fun bit they did with him and all the women he sleeps with is like he cries with like everyone, but then when like Hazel marries the dude that was living in the basement of the burning building, it's like, well, how is your marriage going? It's like, well, he sleeps with me and doesn't cry about it.
Or it's Sam, it's the replacement Phil Seymour Hoffman guy. She's been hanging out with him. Like they're crossing wires. Like the actor's hanging out with the real life person, and the real life person's hanging out with the actor. And it's like, no, we're supposed to keep it on these same tiers.
And that works itself into the play.
Good.
Yeah, right. And so she's talking like, why are you with Sam or whatever that guy's name, the actor? And she's just like, he doesn't cry when I sleep. And then she asked him, and because then when he had sex with the actress version of her, and she's like, so why are you with her, with that actress? And he's like, we had sex. Oh, did you cry? No. Wow, that's a big improvement. I cried a little before we started.
Yeah, a little beforehand.
What were you gonna say, Matt? Sorry.
Oh no, I don't remember.
Fun fact
is what you said.
Oh, Samantha Morton. Samantha Morton was the original voice of Scarlett Johansson's character. Her. Yeah.
Well, that's
so
what
it makes sense
watching this movie.
Spike Jonze was executive producer on this movie, so Spike Jonze was already kind of like he knew her, and so I watched the movie kind of through that filter a little bit, like listening to her as the voice
just kind of close your eyes.
What was hers? What was the AI's name? I forget.
Samantha.
Was it Samantha?
Kimmy.
Yeah.
Kimmy. I thought it was Samantha. Yeah. So listening to her voice going, oh man, she would have been, or probably was, great as the voice. But they probably just needed somebody more, famous or whatever.
A little bit more.
Scar Joe probably had a little bit more star power about then.
Oh yeah, for sure. But
just like Ghost in a Shell.
Yeah. Brian, did you say your 2 moments yet?
I had a few.
Yeah.
I said it was playing with his own poop with a plastic spoon.
Oh yeah.
And the scene where,
my favorite.
What's your favorite?
Yeah. There was that, and when the guy who's been following him shows up and they have their little casting session, that was my favorite moment.
Oh,
it was probably between that and the mother's crime scene that hadn't been cleaned up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty great. I feel like we kind of tiptoed around, but we didn't talk about. So at the beginning, he produces Death of a Salesman, but instead of an old Willy Loman, he casts young people. So it's what's her name? Williams is the wife. Michelle Williams is the wife, and then some guy is the young Willy Loman. And so that's the whole everyone going like, why did you cast young people? Which I feel like was a perfect way into this movie of like, it's the theater guy, and it's like, well, why'd you do that? Well, there's reasons.
Well, yeah, I think he says that to his dad when they're walking back. His dad is like mumbling behind, like, why were they so young? And he's like, I'll explain it later.
Yeah.
That's why. But it's that perfect. No, go ahead.
He said at one point, like, it was a choice.
Yeah.
It's that perfect example of an artist going, I really had, like, that character could have talked for days about why he thought he should cast young people and how it was deep and whatever. But then the audience goes and watches it and it's just like, why? Like, it doesn't connect at all. And I feel like that's just a really funny kind of theater thing or just art thing in general of an artist who's just like, I got all sorts of, you're not conveying whatever the hell you were thinking. So it's a failure.
Yeah.
Next.
I mean, I've made stuff and I can say it now. You couldn't have got me to admit it at the time. I probably didn't even realize it, but I've totally made creative choices just for the point of digging my heels on it because someone questioned me about it. I mean, I've totally done that.
We all do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's even a little different. That's like a spite choice, as opposed to thinking you're doing something
But I think the whole spite thing kind of goes a little hand in hand with people that are being what they would call artists and making creative choices.
Right. Yeah.
I think sometimes a little bit, some of us get pushed a certain way when someone's, because we may think it's the best idea ever and someone question us and it turns into, screw you, I'm doing it.
But sometimes that can turn into a great thing. I watched the documentary on David Bowie on HBO recently, and his whole career was that, where it was just like people were like, what? I don't get it. And it turned into a cultural phenomenon when you look back and go, oh my God, he's been doing Major Tom since the beginning. Like everything is Major Tom till the very end. It's really brilliant stuff. But then there's also the version of like, is it just spite for spite's sake? Is it really turning into something that is, is truly brilliant? Or are you just digging your heels for the sake of, making somebody mad?
Or just smelling your own farts, too. Yeah. I think that was more my angle.
I think there's a point, like, artistically where you have great ideas and they propel you to a skyrocket, and then everyone's like, well, you have to have another great idea, another great idea, and it has to be better than less, better than less, better than less, better than less, and then all of a sudden you do something that just drops you down because people are like, what the shit was that? And then you either stay down there or you pull yourself back up again. Like David Bowie in particular, his late resurgence back into pop culture, because people could flat argue that Labyrinth was one of those like, what are you doing?
Yeah, but
it's David Bowie.
Well, the reason is because he always really saw himself as an actor and a performer first, not really a musician.
Sure, as a mime.
Yeah, he wanted to be an actor. Like that was really his dream.
But so you get like Labyrinth, but the best example of the climb out though is when he's in like Zoolander as David Bowie, and it's fully accepted that yes, he would be a nouveau, like a style icon that would absolutely be judging a underground model off. Like that's the culture itself, like admitting that yes, he managed to pull himself out of that tailspin. However, he did it.
I don't know. I would not say Labyrinth is a tailspin.
Yeah, it wasn't a tailspin.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it's brilliant.
Did you want to stare at his junk or not, Nico?
I did.
Listen, man, he rolls a lot of balls. Okay, some of them are in his hand, some of them are in his pants.
We're gonna have to have Labyrinth tonight.
Yeah, if you're to look at his musical career though,
and
then I mean, it's kind of like, I'll say it, it's kind of like the Beatles.
That's fine.
Good. Lots of acid.
Well, you could say that about Queen though. Like I recently, also, like after the movie came out, I was like, I'm gonna like check in on Queen stuff because all their hits. But when you go through even the greatest hits album, there's about 4, and the rest are terrible songs.
Rough, there's some rough stuff to get through.
Man, their music is bad. But there's but the thing is, like it's like the magnum opus, and then just terrible. I'm in love with my car. You're just like, nope, that is not a song.
What's that body one?
I mean, even like Big Bottom Girls, like or Fat Bottom Girls or whatever, like that stuff, it's terrible. But Bohemian Rhapsody is unreal, like
a masterpiece.
Not even. Yeah, there's nothing like it.
Yeah, and I think that's just the artistic curse, is that you do something great, and then you can't do the same greatness again. We'll let's do something that people would argue is not great. Slipknot, the band Slipknot.
What do you mean they're not great?
Well, just hang on. I'll try to walk through this. I'll try to walk through this as casually as possible.
Please.
So there were bands that there were bands like Kiss and Queen that were more performance, right? But it was performance. But those bands were like, look at my face, I'm the famous one. But then like Slipknot, especially in their musical genre, was like, we're just going to hide all of our faces, but we're going to do it in these insane masks. So nobody's necessarily going to know who we are. And they I want to say they like pioneered that type of group, but you had that. And then once they got successful, then you had a bunch of bands like Cold Chamber and Mudvayne, like all these groups that came out were like, we're going to do massively weird. And then it even got international to the point where you had a band like Ghost, where the members of the band are just called the Faceless Ghouls. They just wear these like gargoyle masks. And the only one who you ever like see his face, and I'll use air quotes on face, is the lead singer, Papa Emeritus. But even he, quote unquote, like kills the previous Papa per album, even though it's like the same guy. So sometimes it's like an old Papa, it's a young Papa, it's Pope Papa. Like he does this.
Papa.
But if these people had just created something and then said like, yeah, we're just gonna do masks and we're just gonna be the mask band and never really innovate beyond that.
Yeah. Then
people will be like, well, I'm going to move on because somebody else did something else. Yeah. So they go up and up and up and up and up, and then they just crash down or stay and maintain that stuff. And I think this is a long-winded explanation for this play or this movie of saying like, you know, he had success. We're like, oh, choosing a young cast to play Death of a Salesman is brilliant. And he wins this fellowship, and he has these people that essentially – his cast for Death of a Salesman, I think they showed it's like 15-something people sitting in the auditorium. But then at one point you see the entire cast involved with his play, and it takes up these two giant risers, and it's like 100-something people. And then the line of this, we've been doing this for 17 years or 20 years or whatever. You're like, holy crap! Like he just had to keep building, and that's why he could never. And I think he even said a few times too. He's like, I know how to direct this play, or I know how to. It's something like basically I know how to finish the play, and then it shifts, and then his life shifts, and then they do it again, and he says it, and his life shifts, and then at the very end he dies. But but it's like he's in that creative process of like he's done something and got attention. It's like, well, I got to go up, and he did attention. I got to go up, and then there's a crash in the middle of it when his life falls apart. Everyone's bailing on him. People are literally dying, and then he's like, God, how do I swing this out? And for him, it was casting the female himself. To the point where she said, let me be you. Like I will direct for you while you're step away.
He's like, take a minute.
He's like, well, I want my hands in it. And she says, she basically says, well, the Ellen character is open, which is her character, which is, it's funny again. It's her character that he cast her for only after he saw a nude painting from his previous wife. But all the while, he had been impersonating Ellen in real life to get into the apartment to clean it. So it's like, so he's basically, he is the director who impersonated Ellen, who cast a play in which he cast Ellen, which is then replaced by Ellen to only take back the Ellen role in which he just cleans the apartment.
Right.
I just feel like.
And he's getting in the ear his cues.
Oh, yeah.
So he's just finishing his life getting cues on what to do from, what's her name? Diane Weiss is the actor.
Yeah, right. It's bonkers.
It's great.
It's so crazy.
I just feel like when Kaufman was writing this movie, he must have had like all the characters and the actors for those characters up on a board, and he's like running string from character to character to character.
Yeah.
It's like Charlie, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia when Charlie's got the wall with the strings and he's like explaining, like that's how it would be to direct this movie.
Yeah.
But side note, you brought up the band Ghost. My favorite thing about the band Ghost is they look like they would play satanic death metal, but it sounds like 80s pop with guitars.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Pop. Yeah.
Ghost is a great band to check out.
I love Ghost.
They have a best of, and it's really good.
Like, because it's a whole thing, and they just... Sorry, I love the band Ghost, so I get excited, but it's like this whole thing, and basically the lead singer has said the whole theme was just to try to make money. That's like, it's the whole thing. It's... People look at it, I was like, don't judge it by the cover, listen to it. It's incredibly catchy and poppy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've seen them live one time. And it's exactly that. It's a performance to generate revenue.
Yeah.
But it's really good.
Yeah, I heard they're really good live.
At the end of the day, that's what you're trying to do anyways.
All it is.
Yeah.
And people, I think, who go, oh, I'm just wanting to be an artist. Which, you know who secretly is Slipknot? U2. That's my smoking hot tip.
Right.
Smoking hot tip.
Smoking hot tip. U2 is actually Slipknot.
U2.
And Slipknot is U2. Well, not to brag, and we're at the end of this episode.
I was going to say, do we want to
Nerds.
transition?
Yeah, we can transition, but I will say that I did have a chance to meet Bono once. And
name drop.
Yeah.
Hello.
There's never been a more famous and more kind person in the entire history of Earth. It's unreal. No one that famous should ever be that nice. Like, to the point where he's just like right in the mix of it all, just like shaking chef's hands and saying thank you. Just like, you're way too famous to be like this in the middle of it all. He was the nicest celebrity I have ever met.
Nice.
And the most famous one, obviously, I mean, it's Bono. But yeah, it was crazy. There was a restaurant I worked at in Venice, and there was a reservation for like 6 people under the name Edelstein. And this guy walks in and he's like, "Yeah, we've got the reservation for Edelstein." And I look up and it's the Edge. So definitely not Mr. Edelstein. And so the Edge walks in. I'm like, well, that's the Edge. And I was like, no, that's kind of cool. And then a couple of people walk by. And then another guy comes up and he goes, "Hey, thanks so much for taking our reservation. I know it was really late." I look up and it's Bono. And then
he's wearing the
sunglasses, yeah, for sure, with the sunglasses, yeah. And then on his way out, he walks into the kitchen, shakes everyone's hand, shakes my hand, shakes everyone, just like, "Thank you so much. The food was so great. It was so amazing." And that was it. I was just like, dude, it's crazy. Like, you don't have to be this
That's
nice.
bonkers.
You're Bono. Yeah.
And the thing about it is, like, that made everyone that worked in that restaurant, that made everyone's night.
Oh,
just
probably made their
everyone's
week,
night.
man.
Yeah, for just being like a kind person.
Oh, for sure. And like the person who was she was like the general manager, but she was like the hostess that night. Like, he hugged her, and it was just like this thing where you're like, why are you? Yeah, and that's the thing. He was just so kind and so gracious. The food might have been the worst ever, but he didn't care. He was just so nice and so kind, and it was the best thing ever. Yeah.
Was the sound of her panties melting audible, or?
I know my underwear was melting. That's for sure.
All the men had to stand behind something.
Oh yeah, I was.
It dropped for their trays.
6 to midnight. I was 6 to midnight when Edge walked in. So
that's why I'm called Bono, because I give everyone a chub chub.
Well, like, I almost
know.
Hearing that almost makes me feel bad for laughing at the South Park episode. Have you guys seen one of the South Park episodes?
I was going to bring it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, what is it? Kyle's dad is in a contest with him for having the biggest shit ever.
Yeah,
it turns out Bono is the biggest shit ever.
Yeah. Well, no, that's the thing though. I love him, and even more now after having that experience. But every now and then, that freaking album that they loaded on everyone's iPhone still comes on automatically when I get in the car, and it's so atrociously bad. It makes me mad every time. I don't know why I don't just delete it.
It destroyed them. Like, do they exist anymore? I think once they did that, the world's like,
Yeah. They thought they were doing everyone a favor, but no one cared.
I think one of like my coolest moments I've seen with like U2 was like, B.B. King did a song with U2 when Love Comes to Town.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And I don't remember how I saw it. I think it was in a documentary I watched about him, but they were showing him, and he was going to play a show with them and play the song live. And he like comes in and sits down, and Bono's like, "Okay, well, the Edge is going to show you the chords and everything." And B.B. King goes, No, I don't do chords. I don't like chords. And he just like, I do this. And he plays like this brilliant guitar solo. And he's like, I'm going to do that. And he's like, Edge is like, yeah, we should just let him do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
It's like,
hey, B.B. King, let me tell you how to play the guitar.
Yeah. It's like, no, B.B. King wants to play with you. Like, you just let him do whatever he wants. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Oh man, that was the peak. That was when U2 was as big as that hat Nick's wearing.
Oh yeah.
It's got a whole lot. I just thought I'd make the transition official, since we've definitely.
Well, folks, thank you for listening to episode 24 of the Smoking Hot Nerds.
24.
We can almost rent a car next time.
No, we have like $4 in the account. Oh, 25. Gotcha.
No, I mean
Age
the
25.
proverbial 25.
There you go. Yeah. All right, folks. Well, so we'll transition into. So if you'd like to stick around and listen to the next episode, which is going to be episode 3 of Nerds After Dark.
It's Nerds After Dark. It's time for the White
Claw time. Welcome to Nerds After Dark. So I'm a big fan of this format because I really think that we have. I don't know. Sometimes
I recording going. You're just gonna get one audio for me, or do you want 2 audios?
No. We'll stick with one audio. It's one because I can.
One sync.
I cut it in the middle.
All right.
Because it's an hour-ish usually when this happens.
Yeah, that's good. That was like an hour and 8 minutes.
I just like to pinch them off right in the middle myself.
Well, that's the thing. Like the start's always my favorite.
Well, sure.
Yeah. So pinch it off and then get it started. It's that relief that you feel. Yeah.
Do you do like the same thing with your mouth when that he was doing?
Absolutely.
I do it with toilet paper. Yeah.
Now I want a sailor's hat.
Ooh, maybe Nerds After Dark all have to have sailors' hats. I agree with that.
All you have to do is drive out to Lake Mead and hit up.
Hey,
there it is.
Do I have a crazy hat? I bet I have a crazy hat. Hang on, let me grab my crazy hat.
I don't think I have one.
For a split second, I was going to go, hold on, Brian, let me get you one. And then I went, oh, wait.
Yeah.
I'm in Boston.
We got to figure that one out.
I'm your cousin from
It's
Boston.
like Rise of Skywalker. You just got to.
Oh, yeah, right.
Remy, I can't play ball with you right
That's
now.
amazing. He just popped up like, ball time. Ball now, Dad.
Like,
ball now.
Throw the ball. But the problem is, if I do it
I'll be
once,
proud.
I'll have to get off here.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I just sew my gut. I'm wearing this, but it's like, it's 80 degrees and humid here.
Is
I'm
it?
like, come on. Let's get cooler already.
Yeah, we finally dipped down sub 100, which was nice.
Are you drinking beer, Eric?
Mm-hmm.
Like my AC hasn't been running all day, which is fantastic.
Oh, nice. Pale ale. Whale's tail.
I'm drinking my roommate's beer. It's his fave.
Nice.
Literally and figuratively.
Yes.
It's his beer, and I also stole it from the fridge.
And I'm drinking it, yeah.
Should you let him know he's going to have to pick up more beer on the way home?
I feel like recently, I'm just having a couple. Recently, I stocked him up with a bunch of beer. So,
Oh, there you go.
Shared beer experience.
I attempt to be good about that.
Solid roommate. Yeah, that's good.
Mhm.
There's an understanding of roommates that it's like, I mean, if they're there, it's a Friday night, you want to have a bev, that's fine. Just don't down 18 of them and then be like, oops,
clean
sorry,
it out
bro.
and then go, oh, and I didn't replace them. Yeah.
Are you
cute
allowed
help me
to
hat.
use electronics this far from the farm?
Nobody knows about it.
That
Because
shirt have buttons.
nobody has technology, so they don't know that I've got a podcast. So
Are you
it's
going
okay.
Rumspringer?
I know. Looks like that, or you look like an Orthodox Jew, like you're.
If I were a rich man.
I'm gonna apologize for my dog growling in the background because she's demanding that I play ball with her.
Bro, throw the ball for the dog. I was going to say, I see a dog with a tennis ball. You must throw it. Don't make me have a Jeffy moment.
A live Jeffy moment. I have not
Oh.
experienced. I don't know if I was.
That'd be something.
I was with you during a Jeffy moment, but we were in a theater, so I didn't know it had happened.
Was it King Kong?
Yeah, that big grass
Mhm.
creature
Yeah.
that got shot at.
It's like, yeah. Like, why is Sam Jackson so mean?
Did you?
That's all I
go,
could think.
"Aw."
Yeah. Oh, it made me want to go home. hmm So I see your little dog with his tennis ball. That's Jeffy all day long.
Yeah,
That's
she'll
Jeffy all over that.
Yeah.
she'll like chill on the bed, and after a while, she's like, "Nope, playtime."
Yeah.
I can
Stop
see
what
the
you're
other
doing.
one, like over your left shoulder there, just kind of peeking at us, like, "Hey,
Yeah.
are you done over there? Hey,
Yeah, she's like, "Okay, Dad, can you come cuddle now?"
Oh,
yeah, be done."
go get it. Yeah.
I have one of those fold up wagon things, and I keep throwing it in that because she will jump in it. It's hilarious.
Oh, that's cute.
Oh, but she can't. She didn't see me throw it in there, so now she can't find it. That ought to keep her busy for a little while.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow. So
that's super good.
That's amazing. That's incredible.
Well done. Yeah. Well done. That's
so
really
you're creating all these masks that have chin straps so that the mouths open with the mask?
Yeah. So there's 3 of these guys. Luckily, because this kind of got truncated, this show, we simplified a lot, so I would have had 3 all doing this, but now I'm just doing just the one. But there's 2 other dudes that have different colored hair. This is the leader, old dude. So it's coming.
That's cool. I like it.
So now that we can talk about whatever we want, I need your guys' help on deciding.
Okay.
Do I want a John Wick Funko or a Bob Ross Deadpool Funko?
Yes.
Yeah, it might just be both. But
right. When you're talking about $16, just do it.
Well, I mean, visually, the Deadpool Bob Ross is visually more wacky.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I don't think I
John
have
Wick's
either one
fun.
of those, actually.
Nico will be getting both.
Well,
Yeah.
I liked the Deadpool doing other Deadpool-y things. I like that idea, but not enough to buy them. And then the John Wick one, I think it's because it's just like a guy in a suit. Like it's not as, he's not holding like dual pistols, or he's not got like the tactical strap, or it doesn't come with like the dog. Like if it came with the dog,
it does come with the dog.
Does it?
Yeah.
I thought so.
Damn it. Well,
Yeah.
hold on, Amazon.com. But I think the first time I saw it, I was just like, oh, it's just. I mean, I know it's John Wick, but if it was on a shelf, I'd have to be like, wait, what? Oh, John Wick. Sorry, it didn't stick out enough. But anywho,
So
That no, go ahead.
no, I had a thought when I took the opportunity to also go to the restroom.
leave yourself. Did you
I
look at your poop?
think that just a little pee-pee.
Well, you should.
When
Did you look at your pee?
Was it
Because that's
gray?
the thing too. He's got like a dark amber. He's got like a
Extremely
Guinness
clear.
stream.
Yeah, no, very clear. You know how Ghost did their thing just to make money, right? So I think that Nerds After Dark, our goal should be Nerds After Dark sponsored by White Claw. How great would that be if it was brought to you by White Claw? So let's do it.
White Claw enough.
Yeah, I mean,
White
I think
Claw, please be a
I think
sponsor.
like basically White Claw is just a wine cooler. So if a with a
It's
sort
a
of
hard
like
seltzer,
80s
isn't
look,
it?
Yeah, I mean, it's all it is. It's like a wine cooler.
But a
It's like
wine
just-
cooler is not a hard seltzer.
It's
Yeah, but it's
wine
like
bubbly.
cooler is like
wine
a
cooler.
Kool-Aid wine.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what White Claw is. Kool-Aid seltzer.
Kool-Aid wine.
Yeah.
It's like the new, Smirnoff Ice kind of thing.
Zima, right?
Yeah, I've never had a White Claw, so I don't even know what they would. But I bet if they paid us, they'd be delicious.
I mean, as much as you drink seltzers, you would like them
Yeah.
because, yeah.
Because they are seltzer first, alcohol second, right? It's not like
Yeah, there's not even that much alcohol in them.
yeah,
Like,
it's not like you guys remember Zima from back in
Oh
the day.
yeah. Yeah.
That was syrupy alcohol first, and then seltzer second.
Do Zimas still exist? Because I'd actually rather if Nerds
They do.
After
I don't
Dark
think-
was
I'm sure
sponsored
they
by
tried to bring
Zima.
it back.
Yeah, if we could be sponsored by Zima, that'd be amazing.
Yeah,
All right,
I think
we're
they
doing
tried
it.
to bring it back.
I
at
think
one
they
point, but
died
then it
way
dropped
back
off
when.
again.
Ooh, let's
Yeah.
do it. Oh, that's great.
Hey, Zima, it's your time to shine. We're
Here we
bringing
go.
you back.
Zima, you want this? I'm going to tag you. In our,
I mean, they're made by
Oh,
Coors. That's a Colorado
Yeah.
company.
Yeah. Oh, hey, that's a good idea.
I remember. Yeah, we did a
Do we have to start drinking Coors to get on this? Oh,
Just Zima.
a long road.
we did a trip in high school up to the Coors Brewery for a science class, which is just hilarious because you take a bunch of high school kids to a brewery
Yeah.
under the guise of like science, and then of course they took us in and walked us through the whole thing, and at the end of it, everyone's like, "Okay, so here's the tasting room. Moving on." We're like, "No."
Yeah,
Like,
but we're here.
so I think we all went home with like
Are we not
coasters,
science?
like
Just
20
we must.
coasters. Yeah.
Well, I can see it now. Nerds After Dark. # Zima drunk.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Zima buzzed.
Zima
buzzed. I couldn't. I tried to get drunk, but I could only get a buzz after that.
Now I'm just really full.
So much high fructose corn syrup.
Pee the rest of the night.
It's mostly just the sugar.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wake up at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Wide awake.
With a tummy ache.
So, first things first, I want to say that I just started a show. I started For All Mankind.
Oh.
This week.
I heard the editors on that were garbage.
Yeah. Well, it's first season, so yeah. But I just started it, and I got to say, I really like it. It's got a Mad Men vibe.
It's fictional history, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's a fictional history suggesting that the whole conceit is that the Russians made it to the moon first. So, real history is the Russians made it to space first. But we made it to the moon first as the United States. So it starts it out as sort of like, but what's great about it is it does do this alternate history thing, but it really throws these twists and turns kind of every episode. So I think I'm 4 episodes in at this point in time, and I really like it a lot because it's alternate history. It's sort of like a little bit of a potential dystopian future with a Mad Men vibe. It's great. Really great show. But created by the great Ronald Moore, who created the new Battlestar Galactica, EP on like Next Generation and Deep Space Nine. So yeah, like just a dude who I've always thought was just like amazing, and I know that we could fanboy hard on that, right, Brian?
So yeah,
can fanboy pretty
just
hard.
Total solid, at his craft. Total pro.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And the show's great because it has a lot of mixed, how Mad Men did the 60s thing, but it was very, not always, but pretty traditionally shot. I mean, it was very, everything was set up a certain way, and the lighting was perfect. Everything was like a certain style. This is like just kind of gritty and dirty and earthy. Everyone's always drinking whiskey and always smoking cigarettes, and there's a lot of handheld and a lot of like just interesting stuff. My only complaint is the effects are, in the first 4 episodes anyway so far, are not great. Like there's a couple of moments where the special effects are like very Battlestar Galactica, and there's a couple of moments where I was like, ugh, should have spent some more money on that one. Like that was just, but maybe it's just because broad daylight effects are a lot different than nighttime looking space effects,
sure.
That kind of thing. But other than little itty bitty moments, the movie or the show is killer.
Have you seen the trailer for season 2?
No, not yet. I've stayed away from
You got to watch the trailer
spoilers.
for season 2.
Yeah.
You will, I can say it because it's public, that will ease your worries about effects.
Yeah. Well, so
they got a little kashish.
One of the things that we were talking about was it was one of Apple's first originals. So that when something's like brand new to a network or whatever, that there's going to be some concessions, budgetary wise, or just maybe we need to get it out wise, or whatever it is, and maybe that's where it kind of fell. But it's incredibly well acted, and it's a whole bunch of people you've never seen before. So that's number one, which is super cool. There's a few. I think there might be a few. There's 1 or 2 people who've shown up in
Moore's new RoboCop
things.
Is in it.
Joel Kinnaman,
yeah.
He's been in a lot of stuff actually.
Who's new RoboCop?
I think he's just changed his name to New RoboCop.
Well, he was in.
Check
He
IMDb.
was in a show where he played a police officer's partner.
Oh, he's in the Altered Carbon. Is that the same guy?
Altered Carbon. He's in The Killing.
The Killing is the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, which that show's amazing, by the way.
Yeah, that's
he's
Gillian Anderson.
No, it's Mario Enos.
I know what you're thinking of, Eric. It's same concept.
Yeah,
that one's probably called The Hunting. Who knows?
Yeah.
The Killing's fan freaking tastic. I mean, one of my favorite actors in the show is the guy who plays Gordo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he's fantastic.
Yeah, he's really good.
From Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Joel Kinnaman, he was in a season of House of Cards.
Yep, he plays the presidential candidate. Yeah.
Yeah, he plays the Republican candidate. He's really good in that. I mean, he was in Suicide Squad.
Yeah. It's funny though because there's a couple of the two main the two male leads are Swedish and New Zealander. So
Perfect.
yeah, so I always notice that in guys, especially men, their mouths are weird when they're doing American accents when there's certain moments. Like I noticed it with Damian Lewis when he was playing in Band of Brothers, playing Dick Winters. Where I was like, what's wrong with his mouth? And I was like, oh, he's British. Okay, gotcha. Like sometimes they just have
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale. Yeah, exactly. In order to really get the sound right, the mouth's got to do some weird stuff. But then most
That's
of
what she
the
said.
I'm totally a normal American.
I'm a normal American.
Yeah, whatever.
Why are you trying to kill me? That kind of thing. But the female leads are just stellar. Like, and it's the thing about Ronald Moore too is like you see it way back even in Next Generation. He follows a very Roddenberry sort of approach where sort of tries to create not only equality but sort of empower sort of lower status characters traditionally in entertainment. So there's a lot of that in this show, but it's not on the nose at all. Like it's just normal life, and it's really, really well done.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things you watched like 4 or 5 episodes, so you've seen this. I'm not spoiling it for you, but like, I think that's one of the things, the byproducts of the alternate reality is some things starting to happen faster. Like the thing that's honestly kind of been happening with women in the last 10 years with getting their due and doing more important jobs. And, that's one of the themes I feel like the first season really explores is just like female equality happens way, way back in the 60s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. With the alternate history, you can, it's sort of like with the new Star Trek movies when they exited the timeline in the first 8 minutes, you can do whatever you want. And so with For All Mankind, when you exit how history actually went in the first 8 minutes, now you can do whatever you want. And there are things that happen, because I would love for you guys to watch the show, so I don't want to spoil that for you. But there are things that happen that instigate the progression of American society that even American society didn't recognize at first in the show. So it's suddenly forced to catch up with the rest of the world who are doing more progressive things. And that's what I really like about it. But what I also like about it is the pushback by, there's a lot of there's a lot of women characters who are doing things that men in the 60s should be doing. But you get this pushback from the American women actors in the characters in the show. So it's cool because you see people's biases and their prejudices working themselves out right in front of your eyes in the show. So it's a very self-aware show, but it doesn't romanticize anything, and it doesn't turn it into this. It doesn't just make you accept it, because everybody's struggling with the idea of more inclusion, and it's showing the struggle of normalizing gay and lesbian and women's rights and black rights, and it's just a fantastic show. And I'm only 4 episodes in, so definitely would recommend it highly.
It's on the list, and I knew like there's that show, and then there's Man in a High Castle, which the concept of altered history is. I think we talked about this a couple of years ago. We talked about how there's going to have to be something that shifts the way that shows are made in order to maintain our interest. Mm-hmm. And I think the altered history might have been one of those like tangential shifts. It's like now it's a thing, because you're right. It does. You take a thing everyone knows, and then you make one change, and then you've just opened the door to do whatever you want to do.
Well, one of the strengths of that is, especially when you're talking about historical drama, the strength in that to me is sort of eliminating the sort of jingoistic aspect of things. So when you watch Band of Brothers, which is a great series, and it follows the timeline of the 101st Airborne all the way to the end of the war. It's great stuff. But what you do at the end of it is, of course you like love these guys and these characters and what they did, but it creates a sense of nationalism. It creates a sense of pride in in who you are as an American, which is certainly a great thing. But what these historical fiction things do is go, well, but what if the Nazis won? What if you were forced to live in a culture that wasn't all about the United States? Same thing with For All Mankind. Okay, so you're still proud of being from where you are, but what if you weren't the best? What if you weren't the most advanced? And so it kind of creates a nice bit of context and perspective around yourself and sort of the privilege that you live in.
Well, even just prospectively, because you think about like when we went to, when we were going through school and you read a history book, it's American history, but it is riddled with the great American successes. Like the last foreign success was the Industrial Revolution. In American history teachings, the last great international success was the Industrial Revolution. And then after that, it was like space. That's us. Computers, definitely us. Like technology, all this stuff. It's America, 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 America. But yeah, so you take a major pivot point like that and you shift it and say, like, you know what? What if we didn't win the space race? What if we did lose World War II? You take that alternate stuff. Like it does make you wonder. Like when they're in, I'm not going to pick on a certain country, so I'll just pick an obscure one. What if you're New Zealand? Like, what is New Zealand history? How thick is their textbook compared to like ours of filled with our own, national pride greatness? Like what is the New Zealand textbook of like the
Lord
Great
of the
Sheep
Rings.
Famine? Yeah, right. Sorry, I totally forgot about Mordor.
Our movie for next week, you mean?
Yeah. No, but it does make you wonder though, because if you like, do Swiss history books deal with American innovation?
Right.
Like it's Swiss.
Swissery.
But that's the thing. Like it does honestly. I'm genuinely curious of like what do. I mean, even like what do German history books look like when they talk about the 30s and 40s? Like, what does that look like?
Well, and that's the thing though, is that everybody's sort of dealing with the same thing in their own way that we are. Because we're in a moment right now with cultural history and sort of recognizing where we're at. Yeah. In our own cultural and racial sort of tension, but when I was in Australia, like 4 or 5 years ago, and they're doing the same. They're having the same struggles with Aboriginal society, because it's the same thing. It's the same thing as colonists and colonizers and pushing out the natives, and in their case, not only do they have that, but they have the Polynesian descent. People in New Zealand and things like that. So there's a whole rich history of sort of tribal culture that the white person sort of like demolished over the course of a century. For sure. So they're dealing with that too, with the Aboriginal rights. And I have a friend who lives there, and I was talking with them once about, what did they say? They called themselves wogs on like Facebook, on a Facebook post. And I was like, what is a wog? And, a wog is basically a person who doesn't have a cultural heritage there, who their lineage is so mixed up between the Aboriginal and white culture, they don't really know what they are, or maybe they came from Italy and moved there, so they're not like Australian, which to me is just like, I think about it crazy. But then you think about it here, you're like, well, that's how people are here. Are you American? Were you born here? Do you speak English? Like, that's the thing. It's the same thing, but it's just there.
It's like, what's that mean to you versus someone else? Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So,
well, and two, and I think America especially is having a real tough time, because for the first time, not for the first time, we've been dealing with this forever, but really going, okay, do we need to step back and stop thinking of ourselves as nothing but amazing?
Mm-hmm.
And just the act of doing that is so much like, it's just, we're just banging heads of just to be able to look in the mirror and go, okay, we got some stuff we gotta look at and acknowledge. Well, okay, but that was the past.
There's because there's a I think it's actually from the newsroom. There's a great thing you can find online. It's Jeff Daniels, and this is old, where he's giving like a symposium or something. It's like a pre TED Talk kind of thing.
It's like 2010.
That's old,
ancient.
But yeah, it's like the whole thing is a person or a young girl in a college is trying to be schmarmy, and she asks him like, why.
Why is America the greatest country in the world? Yeah. That's what she asked him.
And he says it's not. And he's like, and if you think it is, you're stupid. And he just like rattles off all this stuff. He's like, we'll never get better until we recognize that we are flawed. Like, but again, my point is, that was 10 something years ago. That was even then was like a very non-confrontational statement. And then the fact that 10 years have passed and we're still like, still kind of busted up a little bit.
Yeah. But there's a tremendous amount of strength that comes from self-awareness, and that is...
No, that's weakness.
Where the...
Right.
Never mind. You're right.
Admitting weakness is failure.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing this right now.
Yeah. But that's...
Oh, no, that's...
But that's like the... that kind of... We were talking about the movie previous, the Synecdoche, New York sort of thing where the self-awareness bit is what's missing from that movie. There's no... It's a movie that came out of a whole lot of affluence.
Oh, yeah.
You don't make that movie right now. Because right now you make movies that make sense for the time. So it was made in 2007, so right before the massive crash and recession hit. Mm-hmm. So it's like at just the peak of affluence, coming off of
money
9/11
was
and stuff
flowing.
like that. So yeah,
in 2007.
So it's one of those movies where it's just like, hey man, can I give you a few dollars to like smell your own farts? Like, yeah, dude, totally, let's do it. And so let's just smell them. Let's just sit in a room and smell them. Let's get thousands of people in a big old room and smell them together. That's what
hotbox ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
In a massive
talk about how
warehouse.
Good they are. Yeah,
just hotbox it.
So then, flash forward 12 years later, and we're in a weird place now where we're kind of being forced to look at ourselves and really smell our farts. And frankly, they don't smell great.
Yeah, we're in a stage right now where we've been at the club for like 2 days straight. Mm-hmm. It's 3 a.m. They just turned all the lights on.
Trying so hard to take her home,
and you're
but
just looking across
just not
the
working.
bar and being like, man, there's an evaluation that needs to happen right now.
Sleep, yeah.
I need to take a long shower.
Yeah, and all the bouncers got their arms out. They're like, gotta go. Pick up your shoe. I see that. You gotta go.
It's like I need to go somewhere and rethink my life.
Basically, man, when was the last time you guys were at a club?
I live in Vegas, dude. It's impossible. Like,
do you go to clubs?
Club. That was the last time I was at a club. Was in Vegas, and I was drunk for one, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah, it's not a great experience. But I bet the last time I had an experience where I got like the lights on last call was we were in Chicago, and we were dance floor. Everyone's just hot, sweaty, gross, nasty. Lights came on, music stopped, and it was literally like just a line of dudes with their arms out going, gotta go.
That's just no way to leave. Go.
Just getting us out. And then you look on the ground and there's like glitter and like half a handbag and a shoe and like a torn piece of paper, like 90 napkins and you're just like, oh, this has to be the worst.
And straws. Lots and lots of straws.
Yeah, little tiny stir straws everywhere.
I think the last time I was in a club was in Vegas because I was working on a pole dance documentary for a little while.
I remember that.
And I was editing, but I was also help shooting and help producing. I don't know. The whole thing's weird. Love you, Katrina.
Was that your passion project?
It was.
You're not listening, definitely. But love you.
All he would say all the time when we were working on Platonic was, "All I want to do is a movie about strippers."
Yeah.
An important documentary, okay?
I just remember, but there was a convention, not a stripper convention. It was a pole dance because
that's what I should say.
There's this whole other side to pole dancing, like for fitness, and we could go on about that. But there was a convention. I think it was called PoleCon, and we went for the documentary, and I was helping produce, and as part of we got press passes for it. So I think like the first night they had this big swanky party at this big swanky club inside the Hard Rock, I think it was. And I'm in there and I'm like, I think I said it out loud several times, like, I am not cool enough to be in here. Like, I am not attractive enough. I'm a fraud. Someone's going to find that out any second and throw me the hell out.
Oh, yeah. There's been times where...
ago, dude.
Yeah, it was.
I have a couple. So I went. They had a geeky developers conference here in Las Vegas when conventions were here, and I went to it. And one of they at these larger conventions, if anyone's ever been, there's almost always like one night where they have a special event where it's just for the attendees to the convention. And in Vegas, it's usually at a club. They'll rent out a whole club, but they'll still have like the house DJ and all that stuff going on. And yeah, it was the same thing. We walk in. And you're like shoulder to shoulder, but there wasn't enough that they could close the whole club, so they still allowed general people to come in as well. And I remember standing there going, I don't seem to be able to find the fun. Where's the fun here? That's one story. And then another one where I was fortunate through like a friend of a friend kind of thing. Went to dinner with a restaurateur. He had worked deals where it's like, I will give you free dinners to my place if you let me have primary cool access to swanky clubs. So he's like, hey, we're going to this club. I'm like, all right. And they're like, and then he's like, Tiesto's playing. And I'm like, all right. So we go, and it wasn't like the general populace like mosh pit. It was actually like at a table, which another fun club fact is they have all these tables that are VIP, but there is always people that will try to squeeze into said things because you've got bottles and drinks and all this fun stuff. And yeah, it was the same kind of thing. Like we're sitting there and if you've ever seen a 9-liter bottle of vodka at a table, it's something to behold. But then when you watch the parade of women holding up like bottles of Cristal with sprinklers off the top, and there's like 20 of them that go by, and then you ask the person who's helping you out, like, hey, how much is a bottle? And they're like $5,000. And you just watch 20 of them go by. It's like, they are going to call the police. I should not be here. Yeah, I'm going to get sussed out so fast. Like that was my credit limit that just walked by. Like, oh God.
Like when I was there,
just looking at it.
Also, when I was there, and it turned out these press passes, like they were super like strict with us about them because they were only going to give, I think there was 4 of us that went, or 4 or 5, and they were only going to give us 3, and we like had to beg for the other 2, and they were like, do not set these down, because apparently these press passes at PulCon was like gold because it basically got you access to all the parties and everything.
Wow.
But we're in this party, and again, I'm feeling super weird, and there's like a burlesque show going on. And I'm like, I feel creepy, but then also I think I spent like $100 at the bar, and I had 3 drinks. It was like that. And I'm like, I'm not made for this.
Yeah.
No, it is an unbelievable realm of reality.
Well, that felt
what happened was like, I had taken we had a pass, but we also had these like those red like rubber wristband things, and I had taken mine off for some reason, and I was apprehensive about going to this party anyway, and I had taken mine off, and they wouldn't let me in at first. I was like, and I was kind of like, oh darn, I'm just gonna go to this bar out here and get drunk and maybe play blackjack, and I was like, oh darn, but I was secretly relieved, and they're like, no. So like they stopped me, made me stand there. They went in and someone took theirs off and they smuggled it back out to me so I could go in. I was like, wow. Oh, thanks, damn it.
Yeah, exactly what I did.
I really just wanted to go sit at this blackjack table with like 2 other people and play blackjack and just get shit faced on free beers.
That's 1,000,000% what I want to do when I'm in Vegas. I want to sit at the bar and play video poker. Like that's really what I want to do. And ultimately, like that's just it. Just sit there, play video poker, rack up a nice tab. Because the bartender always comes over and she's like, "Hey, if you play max bet, I'll give you the next drink for free." Yeah, like, great. I was going to do that anyway. Perfect. Done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just keep flinging me the cheap or free beers, and like I'm good. I'll sit here all day.
Yeah, it's great. But
that's how it works.
Yeah. It's been a while.
It's nuts, man.
Yeah.
That's a whole world. Do you guys are your theaters open? Are your movie theaters open?
I tried.
I haven't looked, but I don't think so.
Las Vegas open theaters. I went to the theater.
Oh, right.
Was it great?
Like 4 times.
And I got a chair and I got to sit there. When possible, we need to review Tenet.
Oh,
Good.
Yes. Yeah.
I understand now why he was adamant about the theater experience for this movie.
Yeah.
I saw it in IMAX, which I don't regret, but IMAX does carry the onus of being too damn loud.
Mm-hmm.
So there is dialogue that is blown away by ambient sound.
Yeah.
So I would recommend anyone. I would recommend seeing the movie, but just see it in like. You don't need the IMAX experience, but go see it big and loud for sure because of the action. But we need to talk about it because it is top. It's some top notch work.
Do it.
I watched
Is it
that
better
last
than Dunkirk?
trailer and had no interest.
Really?
Yeah, you what?
Wow.
That last trailer, it's like a really long trailer, and I was just like, man,
Well,
I just have zero interest to watch this movie.
I think it spoke to me in a couple of things. The one thing it did was I was semi-nervous about Pattinson taking over Batman. And people have said it's like, no more dark Batman. It's like, I'm tired of Batman just getting beat up, and I don't want it. Pattinson kills it in Tenet.
Oh, he's fantastic.
Like,
he is.
Full credit. He is no longer Edward Cullen.
Like he needed a gateway drug, and that was his gateway drug. But we can't hold it against him anymore. It's been like 10 years since he played it the last time.
Fair.
Yeah.
But like, he's also done some stuff where you're like, oh, it's a questionable decision. And I have The Lighthouse. I can see it. I haven't watched it yet. But he crushes it.
I hope you can see The Lighthouse, or else The Lighthouse isn't doing its job.
It's not a good lighthouse.
That's very but
Come on, Captain.
But you want to talk about how in Synecdoche the room of lines and photos just to map out those performances. When you deal with time travel or the concept of time and linear time versus nonlinear time, they must have had one of these psychopath boards up in a production office too, because there's so much before and after detail that they captured, and it was so good that the minute I got done watching it, I was like, do we have time? Can we watch that again? Because I definitely want to go back and look for all of the stuff that's revealed as had previously happened, kind of thing. It was it's kind of like they didn't do it, but if in Back to the Future they would have shown like other Marty kind of peeking around the corner in the first one when he's in the second one, it's like that where you're like, I want to go back and see if there's all this stuff. It's super good, man. It's killer good, and the performances are through the roof too. Like, they're so good. Yeah, so we gotta, if you guys can make it possibly in the next 6 months, we'll watch it.
Yeah. I don't know if anything's open. I don't know what they're playing yet here.
They're not open here.
For a while here they were open, but they were rolling back through like cataloged movies. So they're showing like Raiders of the Lost Ark, Empire Strikes Back, Goonies, stuff that you knew they just had like on file that they could roll into the machines. But I saw New Mutants and I saw Tenet in 2 consecutive weeks, and Tenet was worth it. It's so good.
Yeah, I saw when you theater too. I saw when you posted on Facebook that you watched it. I was like, oh damn, maybe they're open here. Nope,
not yet.
Well, you guys decided to start wildfires instead.
Yeah, it's like we have COVID and now California is on fire. Like, so much so that there's no blue sky. It's just
usually happens anyways. But I just saw the No Time to Die trailer. I've not seen that yet. Just watched it just before the thing. The trailer looks great. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Daniel Craig as James Bond, but Ana de Armas, one of the girls. We got the girl from Zoe,
Blade Runner,
is in it as well. The girl who plays the robot in Zoe, she's one of the Bond girls as well. And then
right. Well, she has been.
Yeah,
she's a continuing.
And then Rami Malek as the bad guy.
Yeah, she's like the only Bond girl that's been in successive movies, isn't it? It's usually a new Bond. He usually gets
is she
a new one every time.
Moneypenny doesn't count, but the Moneypenny character changed.
Yeah.
But as far as like interest, right? Normally they're killed. So.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this Bond girl has been there since, I think, Casino Royale, or not, maybe, or was the one after Casino Royale.
Quantum of Solace,
Quantum of Solace. I think she's been there since Quantum of Solace.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. The girl from
she was
from
Inspector.
She's been in at least 2 others. Yeah.
From Zoe, she was,
or has she just been Inspector?
I thought it was just Spectre.
No, she was in. Was the one for Spectre?
Let's find out.
Skyfall. She was in Skyfall. I think he met her in Skyfall.
Really?
I'm pretty sure. She's been around for a while.
There's so many. It's fair that we don't know.
Léa Seydoux.
Speaking of Spectre, can we talk about Spectre? Did you guys like Spectre?
I haven't seen it actually.
Not really.
Never saw it.
Really?
I was like, meh.
So many people don't like Spectre. I love Spectre.
Huh.
I think the pigeonhole that they're running into that they need to dig out of is Casino Royale is the prequel to Bond, but it came out after the 30-something movies of Bond have been released. So in Casino Royale, he's not even a 00. He's just an agent. And then at the end of Casino, he gets his 00. And then like they start to then reintroduce like Blofeld and stuff like that, where people are like, wait, this is not new. And I think that's why people didn't like it, because they were like, wait, this Felix Leiter's in it again, and now like this Blofeld character-esque, but it's not. And I think people are just like, what timeline-wise, they're just like, what are we looking at? Like, how?
Yeah, because like,
what's happening?
Up until Daniel Craig era, it's just another Bond movie. But like you kind of like rebooted it and started telling the story again when he became Bond. So
much consecutive. Like the first, you watch the first 6 Bond movies, they're all over the place. Like there's a linear nature of like MI6 and stuff, but like they don't necessarily bleed into one another story wise. These absolutely with the Vesper Lind and all that, like they work into each other, and you can watch one if you haven't seen the others and be like, I don't know who these people are. Like, there's a history and I don't know it. Whereas the Bond movies, you could just pick up like You Only Live Twice and be fine.
So who was the new M after? Because Skyfall was the last one that I've seen. So who took over that role?
Ralph Fiennes.
Yeah, Ralph Fiennes takes it over.
That's right. Yeah.
My problem with Spectre was that they were trying to make the Blofeld character that he had this web that he had woven, and everything that Bond had gone through in his whole life leading up to today was because of that guy and him pulling the strings. I was just kind of like, I didn't.
A little tired. Yeah, it's a tired concept. Yeah.
Yeah, and 2, it's just like it was stretching it where he's like, James, like, were they brothers or what was the whole story? But it's like he had been pulling the strings since Bond was a kid. I was just like, nah, I don't. This isn't.
Yeah.
So that's what did it for me, I think.
It's just a contrived plot of like, all right, come on.
Fair enough.
I don't know too, like the helicopter thing. I don't know, something. Yeah, I haven't watched. I love that part. So maybe I would rewatch having a bummer feel about it and go, oh no, it's way better.
What? Yeah. Sometimes
and his suit was too tight.
Movies are like, no, it's nice. Sometimes those movies too are better on a second watch, because the first time you know that they're just throwing so much information at you that you're either ignoring the information and watching the movie, or you're soaking in the information but missing the movie, so that you're catching all the nuance and all that stuff, and then at the end of it you're like, oh wow, there's a fun book report, but where was the movie part? So yeah, sometimes those are like that second watch when you know the twist, when you know the ending, when you know how it ends, then you can go back and kind of enjoy the movie. You can enjoy the construction of the film and be like, all right, this isn't so bad. Right. I've had movies like that too, where I thought about doing, I think I've talked about this, where I do my gut reaction and I might give it a score, but then at the end of the month I want to do something called like the marinade, where it's like, all right, I had some time to like kind of work it over, maybe watch it again, maybe watch some other influence stuff. Maybe it's changed my mind, maybe it hasn't, or maybe something that made me angry right away no longer makes me angry. Or I think like
acid reflux.
Yeah, exactly. I gotta tamp that down, a little Pepsid, and then I'll be fine.
I feel like that happens though in our conversations about movies a lot. Like even tonight, talking about Synecdoche, New York, where we pretty much kind of universally were like, ugh, like it's just too much. It's too much smelling farts. But then when we talk about it, we kind of go, oh, that movie, that moment was pretty good, and that moment was pretty good. And so you kind of you go back and you sort of revisit it a little bit, and you think, oh yeah, no, that was pretty brilliant. But Does that also mean that, like, did you really kill it? Did you kill it at the beginning? Because all that matters is the experience of sitting there. Because it's definitely a movie that I will never watch again. Yeah. You know, because there's no need to. You know, there's no need to watch it ever again.
Right.
I'm not going to sit down and go, you know, unless, for some reason I'm with somebody who's never seen it and they're like, I really wanted to see this movie. I'll be like, all right, I'll watch it with you. But, you know, I will be farting the entire time. I have a bunch of those
movies that are definitely like, I'm glad I watched it.
Yeah.
Probably not going to watch it again. Yeah. Unless it's, because I think, speaking of Nolan, like Memento, I know I've watched that movie at least 5 times. I haven't watched it since college, though. Mm-hmm. Like, I think I remember I watched it in the theater, blown away by the concept. Yeah. And then I was with somebody and they're like, I haven't seen it. And I was in that college-y phase of like, well, let me show you this really cool film. I'm so smart for watching it. Yeah. And like Fight Club. Like, let's watch Fight Club. And then you watch it again. But then I think I went back to do it just to get, because something happened with Guy Pearce. And I was like, all right, let me watch it because of Guy Pearce. But then, it's like, it's right there. I haven't watched it again because, again, you know it. Like, and also it's not one of those like, I feel so good at the end of this movie. Right. Oh, I'm so happy. Yeah. It's such a great movie.
Great at the end of that at all.
So there's definitely, like, this is definitely, Synecdoche is a movie where, you're like, I am glad I had that experience. I'm not going to roll that back up again though right away. No.
But I feel like there's a lot out there, especially now. Goodness. I mean, series-wise, oh my goodness. Because when I was going to start For All Mankind, it was a toss-up. I was like, okay, so because of my proximity to, to people involved in the show, I'm like, all right, I want to watch that. But there's also Raised by Wolves that just came out, amongst 8 other things from HBO/Apple. Just like, how do I choose? Because you're going to get wrapped up. And for me, I only have time to really dedicate to one thing at a time. So I'm not watching multiple series. I'm not going to binge it and then pick up another one. Like, it's going to take me some time to get through it. And I wasn't in the mood.
But the president can watch all sorts of stuff. He has time.
That's true.
You don't have time?
I guess not. Huh. That's a good point.
How hard is your job?
It's real hard, but I don't. I didn't want to go into Lovecraft either because I was like, I wasn't really in the mood for that level of show. So it's just kind of there's just too many decisions to be made. So to be a show and be a movie,
to help the people out,
exactly.
Give them overviews.
Yeah. And my choice was a really good choice. It's a really good choice.
Yeah, we finished season 1 of The Boys.
Nice. Just
saw that season 2 came out on the 4th, but we had stuff going on, so we couldn't watch it. But that's definitely on deck. I think we gave Lovecraft a 3-episode try, and I think I'm probably going to finish out the season, but I can't guarantee that everyone in this house is going to finish out the season, just because
I might be the same.
It's that same thing where you're like, there's so many other options. Like it's not like we get 3 channels and this is one of them. We have hundreds of things historically and current where I could probably swing around and watch something else. Like I'll power through it, but she might not. I'm trying to think what else.
It's like we're living in a time where it's like you're a Baskin Robbins or something, and it's like, well, here, let me try this thing. Oh, that's really good. Do you want to get a cone of it? I know what it is.
Just the sample.
Let me try this one now. Okay. Wow. Okay. No, I get what it is. Yeah.
Not vanilla.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and then just give you that Rocky Road.
I'm kind of in that same place. I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know if I need the cone. Okay. Yeah.
Like you tried the flavor of the month. You're like, I do wonder what triple strawberry raspberry Phasmataz tastes like. All right.
Yeah.
Not terrible, but do not want a cone of it. Thank you very much.
Right. Yeah. Good.
Or maybe for me, it's more beer. Yeah. You do a taster. Sure. Do I want a tall big boy of it?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're doing like the flights of beer.
Well, it's almost like being at a bar in like Fort Collins, and every beer is an IPA. You're just like, if I gotta choose one of these. They're all IPAs. Like there's just a lot of 8s on the board now.
There's an abundance of hops in Colorado. They don't know what to do.
Right. So there's just
that's like
so many things to choose.
IPAs, because people just think, if you're a craft beer guy, you got to drink nothing but IPAs.
Yeah, IPAs are where it's at.
I used to
you
love
hate your mouth?
IPAs. It used to be my thing, but not my thing anymore. Oh.
Yeah, no, I just never get into them.
Yeah.
I just want to enjoy drinking a beer sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I think a really big, bold, sappy IPA is a great thing at like the end of a night. Like, get your 9% IPA at the end of the day when the palate is just wrecked. You can't taste anything else. The lights are about to come on. The bouncers are about to kick you out. That's when you
blast me with hops.
Yeah. But definitely more of a Belgian guy nowadays.
I want to have a very fragrant vomit in about 10 minutes.
Yeah. I want when I hiccup my own throw up, I would like it to smell like pine cones.
I would like it to finish with the strong hops.
Yeah.
Right. See, now I'm just like, we got COVID and wildfires, and I was unemployed for a while. I just want to drink to forget about my problems. Just buy it. I'm just going to buy a 12-pack of Modelo. It's fine.
Modelo and White Claw. That's all you got to do. Yeah.
Fast.
It's a great way to forget about the problems.
Just like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make like micheladas half the time anyway, so I'm just gonna buy Modelo.
I care, but don't care.
Yeah.
I try. I become like too snobby to be able. So I feel if I drink, like some friend had texted the group and he was like, "Man, I just want to drink like Miller High Lifes and screw it, I'm done with craft beer." And someone else was like, "Hell yeah!" And I was like, "I'm just."
Yeah, no, that's not me.
Like it's like force feeding myself. Like, all right, I'll do it, but I'm not enjoying this.
Yeah.
I
don't want to waste the calories.
I was like that I still can am. I really like craft beers better, but like anymore, I'm just like, it just makes me so freaking full, and I just want to like go to sleep.
Right.
Like most of them. So I was like, no, I'm just gonna be a guy with bordering on a drinking problem and drinking Modelo's and White Claws.
Right on the edge. What flavor of White Claw though? Is it something decent or
black cherry?
Oh, all right, it's okay.
The number one seller.
Yeah, is
pretty
it really?
good? Yeah.
It's like
that's their numero uno.
Vitamin water. Like, does anyone drink anything other than the pomegranate, whatever?
Right.
The triple X. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's all they should make, right? Does anyone else drink like the white one or?
Well, there's the lime one that, like LaCroix, it's like the lime one is almost Sprite,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the lemon ones are pretty good, and there's the grapefruit one that tastes like Squirt, So
now that I've gone to the limoncello,
I don't want to drink Squirt.
I do.
I like Squirt.
Might just be urine.
There's no scientific basis for that.
There's no scientific proof of that.
It's definitely Squirt and urine are definitely two different things.
You put them in a test tube, science is going to know that.
I want to make a show where the two main characters are Squirt and urine.
It sounds like Rick and Morty.
Up, Squirt.
Yeah. Oh, urine. I don't feel good today, urine. I might be having an existential
How you doing,
problem.
Squirt? I just got blasted.
It was out of nowhere. I didn't expect it.
Hashtag
it was
nerds
a surprise. I didn't even know it could happen.
It's the first for me.
So even if we don't have our Zima sponsorship by the next episode, should we all buy Zimas to drink next week during Nerds After Dark?
I don't know if we can get them.
If we just force it on them, if we get like Zima swag and just start putting it up behind us and everything, and eventually just like, did somebody sponsor that podcast no one listens to? Like, I don't think
the best thing we can get right now is a cease and desist, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Please take down our logo. What?
You're
paying attention,
all publicity is good publicity.
They won't do that because they're like, hey, we need sales, and these idiots are buying Zima.
Like they've got at least 2 concurrent viewers per platform. So, what's that say? Zima.
Focus.
Discontinued 08.
Oh.
Zima.
Really?
Sounds about
Sounds like it's
Unless
time
it's
for a
just talking
comeback.
about Zima Clear Malt, but that's what it is. Yeah. Was immediately it was talking about Zima was a clear, lightly carbonated alcoholic beverage. Can you still buy Zima? Yep. Oh wait.
It was like Pepsi Clear, Crystal Pepsi.
Right.
But that came back a couple years ago.
Yeah,
Remember that?
did.
February 2017, Miller Coors announced they are in negotiations to bring Zima back to the U.S. market.
No, they better make that happen.
Three
But
years
that
ago.
was 3 years ago.
Yeah, if they know it's
And
not
now
looking
all
good.
the production is turned into hand sanitizer, which is essentially Zima. So there you go.
Right.
It wasn't that hard, just a little recipe tweak.
Water it down, throw some bubbles in there. You got yourself a Zima.
You got yourself a stew. Yeah, I've been drinking hand
Kids-
sanitizer.
Kids, don't put water in hand sanitizer and drink it.
Why not?
Don't do that. That's bad.
My tummy's sudsy.
I can feel the bubbles in my throat.
My poop is green.
Hey, squirt!
All that. So what are we doing next week?
Squirt and urine. Well, I guess it's Lord of the Rings, yeah.
Fellowship.
Yeah. We got to do it before Brian. When do you go back to work?
Yesterday.
Oh, hey, I mean,
Are you working
back to
tomorrow?
work, right?
Huh?
Like, is it normal 9 to 5 sort of situation?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man, because I thought it would be a good idea if we did a Lord of the Rings while you were still relatively fun employed. Because in that way, you got time.
Yeah.
You've got the 6 hours to invest in the first movie.
If I start watching it tonight, maybe I'll have it watched by the time we record again.
Yeah, or we could do Labyrinth. It would be interesting. I would
I'm
love
not
to
going
do
to be rewatching it
new.
if we do it.
Oh, did you just watch it?
No.
Just hard stand. Negative.
Okay, we
Yeah,
won't do that
I'm not
one.
gonna
Yeah.
rewatch it. No, you can.
No.
I kind of remember it.
Oh, hey, before we decide, I didn't watch it yet. I didn't watch the Dune trailer yet, but I think Timothy Chalamet's in it. And come on, can we just
It's
not
fine.
with him
No.
anymore? I'm
you
done
gotta
with
punch
him.
through.
Really?
That was one of the best things
I
about
missed where he
watching
came.
Tenet was they recut a bunch of trailers in front of Tenet.
Mhm.
So it was the best wave of look what you've missed during the pandemic,
Right.
even if they're not great. But they had Wonder Woman, Dune, Top Gun Maverick,
Mhm.
No Time to Die, Black Widow,
Squirting urine.
Squirting Urine, the Squirting. Yeah, there
Squirtin'
was like
Urine's
6 of
Excellent
them, and
Adventure.
It was just like
It's gonna be
it
great.
was just this amazing trailer.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was. That's why it felt so good to be back in the theater because seeing like the Top Gun trailer in IMAX was like, wow. so good.
I'm definitely like hot on the Top Gun movie. I think it's gonna be
Oh
great.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we should definitely. We'll save that when they do. I think it's like October or December. We'll have to. We'll preload Top Gun by watching
Yeah,
Top.
for sure.
Did they get Val Kilmer before he had to have his
Throat removed?
throat thing?
I
Oof.
think
No.
I think there was. Yeah, that he does make an appearance in it. He's not in the
Really?
trailer, but
Yeah.
they
got
the
John
word on the
Hamm.
street
What do you
was-
want? What more do you want?
Yeah, right.
We got Ed
And
Harris
Miles.
and John Hamm. They're good.
Miles.
And Ed Harris, is he in it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ed Harris is the one.
he's the
that's,
new bald colonel.
hmm
Mhm. He's the new old guy.
There you are,
Captain.
Captain.
Yeah.
Tell me why.
Hoozle. That's good stuff,
Okay.
man. It was great.
You should be a rear admiral right now.
At least a
I do.
rear
Was it?
admiral, not a
Were you
full
guys
Please.
talking
admiral.
about Space Force and how the military should have just adopted the next
Yeah.
generation? Yeah, that was another great thing. I love listening to the
Oh,
one last
yep.
week. Was
Yeah.
you guys?
Oh yeah.
You almost like hard sold it. Like I don't know why they didn't do this. This is
Yeah.
a mistake.
Ensigns and captains. And,
Yeah, it was really good. I was like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of good points in there.
Mhm.
I like this.
Commanders and commodores and all those things.
I wish we had more viewers. I got a cute dog.
You do have a cute dog.
Well, a cute dog will help.
Yeah,
Way more
that's
than
true.
anything we say.
This dog is brought to you by
Cute
Zima.
dogs get like
Refreshing.
trillions of viewers.
That's true.
Oh, I just did the cute little like more pets, please. Excuse me. You're not done.
Give me.
You're not done. Get back here.
I would love right now the count of viewers is like just
I should get my.
Are we really doing Lord of the Rings?
Yeah. We don't have to, Brian. I don't want to make you regret joining the team, but I kind of want to do it.
I think it's one of the things you're gonna hate it, and we're gonna get on the podcast. You're like, guys, listen, I have thoughts. How many thank you letters do I need to write for introducing me to this movie?
Because how much I loved it.
He's gonna have on his little hobbit cape, and he's be eating lemon bread. And,
oh yeah, we all have to get little fellowship
elfin bread. Oh. I think that if you had a problem with the sound mixing on Synecdoche, New York, you're going to have a problem with how loud Viggo Mortensen talks through the entire 9 hours of these movies. It's just the whole thing is just him going. Accent. I think that there's rings and swords, and everybody's just going, What?
I'm sorry, what?
What's that? What's that, Aragorn? What'd you say about rings and swords? Yeah,
I'm just I don't think it's gonna happen, but I'm also terrified that I'm gonna watch it and guys, I just spent $150 on Lord of the Rings Funkos.
Yeah, there's definitely that possibility. Definitely.
I know there's only 3 different ring race, but I had to get a whole bunch of them. I had to make an army, so I had all the ring race.
Oh man, I can see the Balrog from here. I can see one of the ring race in both ring race form and ring version ghost form.
When you're seeing them with the ring on,
I can see there's 2 Gandalfs behind me. I got the entire Fellowship.
I can see Gandalf.
I got a couple of Legolas's over there.
Staff is gone.
Yeah. Well, we should probably not do a sappy sad movie. We should probably do a fun happy movie.
Yeah, Brian, we gotta go into some trash in some way.
Yeah, Brian, did you have any ideas? Did you have a thought beyond?
I did have a thought, and it's a terrible idea, but it's gonna be lots of fun for us to talk about it. And I will say I will credit Synecdoche or whatever the frick that movie is called for introducing me to it, because on iTunes I rented it. It said also watch. It's this movie called Brazil, and it's from the 80s, and it looks like David Bowie threw up on a camera from the trailer.
Yeah, it's Terry Gilliam.
Yeah,
Terry Gilliam.
I've never seen it.
I have no idea what it's about.
Either.
Yeah.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm curious.
All right, should we do it?
It's one I need to watch.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, let's pull the trigger. Let's all watch something that none of us have experienced before. We'll watch it in Portuguese.
Yeah, the trailer looks like David Bowie threw up on Blade Runner. It's kind of what it reminded me of.
Yeah, it's definitely a classic. Well, I don't know if it's classic, but it's a movie people watch.
You've heard of it at least?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
it's one of those film school movies.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And then we'll watch Baron Munchausen after that.
That's a good.
After Brazil, we'll do Lord of the Rings. I think it'd be great if we do if our podcast goes on for 10 years, but we just never got around to Lord of the Rings, but we spend the whole 10 years just completely threatening Brian that we're going to watch it. Yeah, I think that would be great. He's a monkey. You have a little monkey on your right. He's so cute.
Oh, I've got my running tally of stuff we've talked about.
Nice.
I still want to do The Abyss, Never Ending Story. We could circle back on Goonies or an 80s nostalgia type thing. We talked about doing a D&D one and then watching that Tom Hanks D&D movie.
There's a Tom Hanks D&D movie?
It's like a made for TV. Yeah, it's like a Reefer Madness kind of thing.
And that it's demonic.
Oh,
I'd have
really?
to look up what it's called. Yeah.
Nice.
And then Brazil, which I just wrote down, and I think we have to save Idiocracy for late October, pre-election.
Right around the election.
Yeah, I still need to watch that though. I'm all for that one. Yep.
I saw it when it first came out. I might have watched it with you, Nick, or it was definitely in a high school crowd situation.
Oh yeah,
yeah. When I watched it, so
it was Mike Judge.
Yeah. So
go away, Baton.
Let's do it.
Yeah, so Brian's seen it.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, so it's been it's old. It's 15, 20 years old almost.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's got Maya Rudolph when she was still in SNL. It does have Dak Shepard in it as well.
Nice.
Terry Crews.
Well, Luke Wilson's in it, right? He's
Luke
the main
Wilson
character.
and his brother.
Oh yeah, Terry
the
Crews.
Older Wilson's in it.
Flip.
Yeah.
What was the terrible?
Some guys from Mad TV. A lot of Mad TV
they did. Basketball. That was the other one. Where you're just like, that was a movie. You're like,
guys.
How did they let that movie happen? Yeah, that was right around the same time.
They self-funded. That's how they made that movie happen.
Or we could do Orgasmo.
Yeah, Orgasmo. Yeah, sounds good. Brazil.
I like Brazil. I like the idea of seeing a movie that none of us have seen, and then that way we all have no fresh take or no hot takes on it. It's all fresh.
I'm already slightly regretting bringing it up, but I'm gonna go with it.
I mean, it's fine. We're doing Lord of the Rings the next week, so it's fine.
Yeah, we can diff way out into the tangent, and then we can bring it back in with some. We'll do a couple pop culture Jackson. Ones. You know, we can go like 80s pop culture, and 90s pop culture, 2000s pop culture, and then by then it'll be time for Halloween, and we can watch a scary movie.
I'm excited though at the idea of getting to watch movies again. You know, going back into watching new movies is exciting. Prospect.
Oh yeah.
With popcorn, jam popcorn down my hamburger tooth. Yeah.
What's a hamburger tooth?
So we get
down my spaghetti hole.
When you guys get the ability to go back into the theater, we should definitely talk about the new experience, because I know people asked me, like, was it so completely different? And the only thing that was different for me was less items on the menu. Like
on the food menu?
On the food menu, yeah, they just had less items because they hadn't worked out like the sanitization process of getting it to you without handling it.
Mm-hmm.
So like pizzas, not that that's like the end of the world, but like none of the some theaters like AMC's and stuff, you can get like chicken finger sandwiches and hamburgers, but all that involves touching.
Mm-hmm.
No, like pizzas and stuff too. So like hot dogs were basically like tongs and a bun, call it a day.
Mm-hmm.
The popcorn,
they still have like the ketchup and butter stations and all that stuff?
No, that's the thing that I thought was a huge waste.
Packets.
Yeah, they gave me like a Ziploc bag full of like 2 of each of the packets, like 2 mayo, 2 mustard, 2 relish, 2 ketchup. And I was like, you should have asked. I don't necessarily like, meh. So that's the thing that was
time
weird.
of waste through all of this.
Yeah, it's just like Ziploc bag of nonsense they threw at me.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, everything else was the same. I mean, wearing a mask in the theaters.
Closed, or was it open?
Popcorn was open, but they didn't. They didn't have the auto refills, like when you buy the huge one, and then you can go back to the theater and get it refilled. That's a negative. That's gone. They even had in the theater I go to, Cinemark, they had an annual pass holder type thing where you pay like $30 in January. They were offering, if I read it correctly, a form of a refund, because the idea was you pay a huge amount of money for a bucket and you just bring the bucket with you and they fill it back up. But since it basically collapsed so early, they're like, well, we can't give you all of it back because you definitely ate popcorn in it, but we can work something out for you. They're still kind of working on that.
Can you just like go to the thing and they give you a new thing of popcorn? Or is it just the ultimate, or the never-ending popcorn is not a thing anymore?
The never-ending popcorn is not a thing anymore.
Oh, wow.
Because that would involve them retouching something that's already been touched.
No, but they can't give you a new bucket every time you
you show up and say, here's my bucket.
Here's my empty bucket.
In the trash.
Yeah.
Now give me
a new bucket. That seems not terribly...
I mean, there's a logistical thing there, but I think it's just more of like the people running that logistics.
Yeah, but paper buckets maybe are like
not
5
have
cents.
It figured out.
Why do you have to handle a bucket?
I'm trying to be very nice about
Is it
the way
because people
could
grab a bucket out of a trash can and be like, here's my bucket?
Let's go with that.
I've seen the actual wholesale cost of popcorn in plastic and paper buckets. It's not much. It wouldn't be that much off of their...
No,
if people were abusing
it, it's more of a all they need, I'll put it this way, all they need is someone to say, I got a refill and then I got sick at your theater.
Oh, I see. So you're talking about from a liability cost, yeah.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of stuff that is they're throwing convenience out for liability, which I'm not mad at. but it's also one of those like, so I like to get the physical tickets. I like the ticket because I have a scrapbook and I keep all the tickets. That was almost like they had to call a manager to come print a ticket out because I had it on my phone and I scanned it and then I was waiting for the ticket to kick out and nothing happened. And I'm like, So the guy staring at me, he's like, you just scan your phone. Like, oh, I got that part because there's giant words that say just scan your phone. But I want the physical ticket. And then the guy was like, this guy's asking for a ticket. Oh, shit. Like, what do we do?
We got another scrapbooker.
Yeah.
We gotta go.
Some guy tackles you.
Yeah.
Takes you a back room.
In a hazmat suit.
Why are you trying to kill everybody?
Right, exactly. So yeah, getting a ticket was like an act of Congress, but so that was a little weird. But
why would you
get
want
a
to be
ticket?
that guy?
Oh yeah, it's right here.
With spit on it.
Yeah.
Here's your ticket.
But it was that kind of thing. It's small changes.
Is the ticket radioactive or COVID
Probably.
active?
It's been irradiated. And it's glowing. Turn the lights off and it glows in here.
It doesn't take much to. I love that though. That like lights go off and someone tackles you and they just take you into a back room.
And hit me with 6-foot-long bats.
Yeah. Who sent you? Who sent you? Was it South Korea? North Korea? Which Korea was it? Yeah.
Was it West Korea?
West Korea.
Yeah.
What's that from?
Just made it up.
Just from you guys. You guys being funny.
Yeah.
That's it. See, that's kind of gold we get here.
Nerds After Dark.
More people would know about how funny we are if
2 hours
Zima
and 20
would
minutes
just
later.
sponsor us already. Hashtag
Come
Zima.
on, Zima.
Crisp, refreshing. Crisp and
Zima,
refreshing.
bro.
Yeah.
What's the? We got to come up with a punchline.
Oh, we could be. Oh well, you know what? We could be the show where they announce their first like offshoots, like Zima, like like Crystal Pepsi. This one's Squirt Zima and Urine Zima. This would be the one.
Squirt.
Yeah. Squirt and urine. Zima. Oh, that's great.
They're gonna announce Amise. It's just a really dark, thick, syrupy.
But one's clear and one's yellow, so you know the difference because they're not the same.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Did someone drink a lot of water today? Yeah, you don't know. Doesn't smell like asparagus.
It smells like protein powder. This is weird.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
I'll partake in it. Don't worry.
I love sushi.
I would too.
Well, in the first game of the NFL season,
Oh,
not
who
surprisingly,
won?
the
Who
Chiefs
won?
destroyed the Texans.
Oh,
Just
Shocking.
Just ran
when
them
did
over.
it start?
Oh, like 7 o'clock ish.
Yeah, it's like 8 p.m. for you.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know why anyone's
So it just
even
ended.
remotely betting against the Chiefs. It's just like they're just so dominant. It's not even funny. It's disgusting. It's awful because I hate them and I hate their guts. and
Oh,
I
it's
hate
great.
everything
Good for
about
them.
and they're
I mean,
dumb.
in like 5 years, if they keep being, then I'll hate them. But
Yeah. Yeah, no,
that's
it's
how I
great.
feel.
Give Kansas City something to enjoy because the rest of it kind of sucks, right?
Cornfields and depression. You're welcome, Kansas
Pretty
City.
Give 'em
much.
something.
good old Kansas. The
I just
state
saw
of
when
Kansas.
Holmes is like, I want to play my whole career in Kansas City, and everyone's like, why?
It's like, are you sure?
I mean, listen,
Have
if
you
you
been
had
anywhere
if you had
else?
damn near $1 billion, you could
Yeah.
have some fun in Kansas City.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, they're.
The property
They're-
taxes that you're saving on alone is worth it, right?
I mean, he's got it made. They're gonna let him do whatever the hell he wants there, and he's 25 now, and
Yeah.
richer than anybody.
Think of
Well,
how
anyway.
big a slip and slide's gonna be.
They're just gonna have Patrick Mahomes Mountain.
So
It's
let me
just a
guess.
5 mile
The
long slip.
biggest.
Was like, I can buy my gigantic mansion, and it's only $400,000.
Right. Yeah.
Also that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
The richest guy in town didn't spend that much.
And then when he moves to a new city, he'll just have the mansion driven to a city, and then
Yeah.
it'll become worth like $50 million.
Buy the land and just plop it down on that.
That's why, that's why it was so funny that I like Phillip Rivers. I thought he was a good quarterback,
Nope.
but his hard dedication to San Diego is like, bro, you could be like, not that greed is a thing, but you could be extra rich in some other city.
Right.
Yeah.
Because San Diego is just draining your paycheck
Yeah.
with all of their taxes, man.
Yeah. It's like
Or
all the
even
people
Brady.
moved from St. Louis to, because I mean St. Louis to LA in terms of lifestyle is a significant increase, but it's also significantly more expensive. So there's that sort of thing, you know. San Diego to LA, you know, you're not doing much better. So
yeah, and
but those Rams uniforms are sexy.
Right, I watched the special on the SoFi Stadium.
Yeah, looks good. Looks real nice.
Science Channel had a special on the construction of it.
Yeah, it's
like
pretty cool.
almost 4 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's nuts.
Because you got to build it earthquake proof. So yeah, the insane amount of overbuilding you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
The over-engineering.
Interesting, yeah.
It
was fascinating.
Was it on Science Channel?
Yeah.
Nice.
Is there a science channel or is there a sci-fi channel? Is there a science channel and there's two of them. Good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like a Discovery partner.
Sci-fi and science.
What next? The fiction channel.
Fiction channel.
Yeah.
Fiction channel.
That's a whole other episode. What would be on the fiction channel?
Right.
Science, that's pretty straightforward. Fiction, it's like today.
Oddly, it's all
Dickinson.
It's just all true crime. You're like, this is weird. Seems odd.
The non-fiction channel.
Yeah.
Would that be the Fox?
That's the History Channel.
Yeah. We got the
History
channel, and we got the non-fiction channel, and we got the dictionary channel, which is great. It's just all words.
Poor February, the X month.
Yeah.
Shortest letter, shortest month. Celebrating pronouns.
Oh.
It's like Shark Week.
Pronoun week.
Adjective week.
Everyone loves adjective week. It's so great, but it's getting so boring. It's the same adjectives
It's just
every
the
year.
same specials
adjectives every year.
Same adjectives all the time.
You know, throw in a gerund every now and then and like try to spice it up.
Gerunds. That's my favorite word in the word world.
Do you remember? Do you remember this, Matt? This is a super late tangent. Do you remember when we were in high school and we were in Knowledge Bowl and this is definition of nerdy.
We're smart.
And we had, I'm not going to say her name, but we had an upperclassman who was like, I want to be on the team. And we were all just like, nope. And she's like, what do I have to do? And our answer was, you need to know everything there is about the English language, and then you can be on the team.
I don't remember this. That's
you don't
hilarious.
remember that?
No.
Oh, maybe that was me just being an a-hole.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's possible.
Well,
So did she go learn everything about?
Yeah, she did. She would walk around with like a book on like prepositions and gerunds, adjectives, pronouns,
she
sentence
really
structure.
wanted to be knowledgeable.
She went for it, and I was so happy and proud that she did it because, like, I think in the final round our junior year at the state finals, it was like 6 English questions right in a row, and we got them all. That was really
nice.
exciting.
Well, there we go. I think I was in. I don't think I joined it till senior year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you missed it then.
I was like
great.
I was like
I need a
meta world
Holly.
peace joining the Lakers late in the game. Didn't do much, but what I did do, I did well.
Nerd.
Well, I think it conflicted with forensics.
Yeah, possibly. Doing acting competitions. That's not nerdy.
It's confused the hell out of me. It's called forensics.
Yeah, I don't get it. It's like it used to be drama and debate or whatever, but then they changed it to forensics, which just sounds like cutting dead bodies open. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, but you guys are bad at science.
Yeah. Right.
But you're dumb.
But you're so dumb. Well, folks, thank you for listening to Nerds After Dark. Thanks for joining us on YouTube and on Facebook.
I'm a boat captain.
Yes, you are. And thank you for listening on Apple and or Spotify. Please remember to subscribe to the podcast. We'll be doing Smoking Hot Nerds main podcast every week, transitioning into Nerds After Dark, our, what do you call it, chat show within a chat show.
Yeah, our pop culture reference sign of the time.
It's sort of
science
like,
breakdown.
I described it to Brian as it's last week tonight, but for pop culture. Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, with just as much research.
Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely.
And less reiteration and way more squirt in your
Way more. Quintuple the squirt urine.
Yeah.
We're going to corner the market on squirt.
Oops. Yeah.
Buy it
Sponsored
out
by
stock.
Zima.
Yeah.
Not sponsored.
Yeah. Who's not sponsored by Zima? We aren't yet. All right, folks. Thanks for listening.